though, is making these spears hurt. So KT will have to back away.
Jace is on a ward in the mid lane. He won't know about that, but this is what we've seen the Monsoon used for. In every other scenario, it's just a top-up. They want to continue with the pressure.
Yeah, charging back in. There's the permafrost down onto Effort. In goes Pawn, wants to find the Taunt onto as many members as possible. Goes Golden with his Onyas. As in goes Smeb, frontlining on the Jace because he's got the heroic entrance for the protection. They get one pick, and does this mean Baron?
I mean, it definitely seems to in the minds of KT. They're walking over control wards. They're guarantees to SKT. This is what's happening. You don't need advanced vision. When you see that, they'll wait for Effort to get there, but still going to be 4 damage dealers. A risk here, teleporting onto a ward, but they're also able to spot.
Oh, spooky ghosts, really paying dividends.
Ada gets chunked by a max range spear.
Zara has to be careful, but that Naba is charging up. Faker gets chunked out, successfully escapes. Score taking a lot of damage on his way out. This is a game of cat and mouse, but this time you don't have Smeb flashing stupidly or anything like that. It's KT playing reserved, playing together, knowing that they can't bite off too much and more than they can chew.
Because they hadn't swept the ward, KT don't get an advantage from chunking out. If Effort dies, they don't return to the low health turret, they don't get Baron, they don't get further picks. Spotted there by the sweeping lens by Effort. They just want to kill him again.
Yeah, the ultimate does come out. Pawn gets the Justice Punch at exactly the right time. Def just throwing attacks into this Braum, who survived for so long, doesn't get that last crit, and now SKT looking to follow up. They've chunked out these super tanks on the side of KT. Oh, it still just feels on such a knife's edge. You can see the gold so far in favor of KT, 7,000 or something of the like, but they're still playing so reserved, so scared of what SKT can do in these mid-games.
They're doing Baron with their junglers showing. SKT's not going to fall for this. Baron down to 6,000, but you do see the Pawn is very low.
Yep. And KT getting themselves into a 50-50 situation. They've been here before, and it has bitten them. They're not going to do it again. Marta looking to go back, wants to refill that Eye of the Watcher.
6,000 gold lead has kind of been the number for a while now. It's now not necessarily as big a deal as it was 10 minutes ago. Nothing has happened positive for KT outside of a single pick onto Effort, and they couldn't kill him again the second time, tanky enough with just 2 items, just with the Locket really being his big purchase after the Sightstone. So they back away. They don't necessarily over-pursue, but you need to keep growing your gold lead. We have to remind the viewers of this. BBQ thought they were in an unlosable position against BBQ in match 2 yesterday, and then was taken down the late game by double 80 carry. The double 80 carry is adding on item after item. Every back they add to their core, they get closer to 6 items, and a 6-item team fight, you look to SKT to likely win.
And you can see that Deft actually agrees with you, Papa Smithy. He doesn't want this game to go too much longer. He's got the GA to make sure that the next team fight, he's going to be able to jump back up again. He's going to survive. He's not going to get picked. They're looking for these traps. They're looking for the bait and switch play. Unbreakable, of course, going to eat that ultimate.
It's not easy to actually use the initiation they have. Sejuani can be QSS'd or can be dodged, and Sejuani needs to be there as a conduit to Galio to initiate. It's really only Sejuani to enable the hero's entrance to be offensive. You're not expecting any sort of actual initiation from SKT. So advancing their position after the easy objectives, which here represent a 6-0 turret lead. A lot of the gold is the 6 turrets to 0. Is difficult because Effort and the rest of SKT are not dying to 4 Caitlyn auto attacks like they were earlier in the game.
Yeah. It's just a frightening situation. You know that SKT capable of taking these games long. The ultimate comes in. Effort though, Unbreakable's there. Should be able to survive this one out, and Pawn not going to be able to find any taunts. Score chunked again. Does have the Warmogs, will be able to keep himself alive. He's going to slowly but surely get him all the way back up to full health, and the pings once again onto the Baron.
If you're SKT right now, the rallying call start. We're in a better spot. We've managed to bring it back. That's what they'll be saying. Something like a Baron rewrites that. We see the Baron started here. You see Deft, they put 2 and 2 together. Cannot complete the Baron, is turn on to Deft.
Yeah, heroic entrance is going to be there though. Blank jumps all the way forward, but he's going to be taken out. That's the jungler, and KT now feels so much better taking this big purple monster.
And that's why you go for the Guardian Angel. You didn't notice a flash or a heal coming out. They were happy to power it down. All right, Score, the smites escaped you before. You need to hit it here.
This would be one hell of a steal if they do it without the smite, but he's going to be able to get it. Score in his 400th game, locks down the Baron. They kill Effort again. Buster Shot should be the disengage that SKT were looking for, but a teleport's going to come in on Tara. He's running for the hills, but he's not running to his inhibitor turrets that should be taking a shellacking now with the newly invented Baron on the side of KT. The base is broken.
How much will KT try to take here? They won't try to end the game. Death time is still very long, but they can get 2 inhibitors at a minimum.
Oh, yeah. That's the teleport back as well for Smeb. He had his Guardian Angel for quite some time. Tara, Meganar is going to be here. Score might be taking a little bit too much damage. KT probably wanting to get themselves out now, but they successfully will do so. What a brilliant engagement, using the tasty 80 carry over the wall to bait them in.
And the best engagement is one that doesn't actually require you to hit a skill shot. In the end, like you say, Deft looked too damn tasty for the side of SKT. This is after the fact. We're going to watch the replay. The smite, just enough. Level 14 there, enough to secure it at 729. Good stuff there, Score. Needed to pull that one off. That went away. The hearts would have definitely taken a couple of notches lower if you were KT Rolster, but what we missed there was Deft. With his Relic Shield upgraded, had the shield there, with the Guardian Angel. For once SKT thought they had the drop, they thought they saw what now feels like the trademark KT overextension. It was turned around on them, and now KT is even just a couple of picks, not even a team fight, but a couple of picks away from just ending the game.
And so interesting here, you can see Deft immediately sells the GA and picks up the Imperial Scimitar, still wants to hold on to that Relic Shield with the sustain.
You know what the best thing about that is? The GA was a confident, let's end the game soon. Selling the GA is a more confident, let's end the game before I even would have value out of the GA.
Yeah, just genius. It's like they had that play sort of in the playbook, sitting backstage and saying like, look, we've got these options, these options, these options.
They got a turret that's already pretty low, that's an easy option.
Oh, hell yeah. Take that one down, the last remaining inhibitor now under fire. SKT on the ropes. It's exactly what Janelle were feeling. End of that gigantic game that we witnessed a few nights earlier.
All right, 3 waves of super minions propped up by another minute of Baron. Should happen here. They have Caitlyn. Should be straightforward. Let's see if KT can end.
Yep, Redemption comes in health. Deft is tanking up the turret. He wants to keep his minions alive by the looks of things. And these Nexus turrets not long for the world now. An exposed Nexus. XKT on the ropes. A game number 1 that KT have done in the past. Nexus is under fire, but it's the battle that we're looking at. Deft picks up one. We've got low health bars, and Smeb's just fighting Faker. The flash comes in. The minions are going to be enough, and the Nexus falls. KT, 9-1. Dominant early game, dominant mid game, and had all of the plays prepared this time. Nothing going to their head.
I mean, KT Rolster rolled the dice, but they rolled high. They needed 2 6s. They got pretty damn close. Atlas in the early game with this Galio, who wasn't going full AP. They saw what the Rocks Tigers did yesterday, and maybe they even had the strategy earlier, because they once again said, what got us those wins last year? It was proactivity. It was the Galio papering over any mistakes you make. With the Callista is left up, a very famous pick for Bang.
Yeah.
But also Varus is left up. So you see Tom Kench banned away. Varus Braum is almost 100% going to be the lock on red side. It almost feels like if we do see the Callista locked in and Bang is having second thoughts, we could see Callista Thresh versus the Braum and the Varus. It feels like we already know the bot lane matchup, but does also mean other prized picks are left open. KT, they take the Rise very early.
Yeah, and of course, no opportunities to pick up any other AD carries. Not going to be able to deny Deft. So, is the support position that's being considered here for KT. Martin pretty vocal. You can see he's not actually giggling. Looking at this Leona pickup could actually be something that they're serious about.
Interesting, they're going to hold the Braum. They're actually going to take the Varus and look for more information.
Yeah,
will that information mean the long delayed debut of Faker on Zoe is available in the first round, will probably be banned in the second round? Will we finally see it, Atlas? Faker had a good game, but unfortunately his teammates couldn't hold up to his end of the bargain. Or Faker draft here.
The Azir is another option.
Sure.
I was going to say it now. It's insta-locked for Faker. We've seen what he's done when he is Rise against the Azir, but we've seen Azirs be able to poke out the Rise as well if they're not at that level of play. This is going to be one hell of a matchup because Pawn's been playing Rise forever as well.
And it's also a pick that recently feels Rise favored in the Azir matchup because of the ability to skip over the Rod of Ages and go for the more Abyssal Mask, the more tanky side of the equation. Could just be lane bully status. Yep, is confirmed lane bully status for Smeb here on the Gnar. So interesting to see what Tal's pick will be on the blue side, given that his only competitive game so far, at least in the LCK, has been on Gnar.
Yeah, a bit of a no-brainer. We talk about the Rise Gnar in almost every single matchup because it seems to be pretty prioritized.
Should also talk about Tal a little bit, given that a lot of people are tuning in for this match.
Yeah.
Was, of course, son of Kasing in EU solo queue, played on Red Bulls. Same team that Kasing played on in the Challengers series. Looked like a carry, but predictably with these young Korean players going overseas, never really got the communication issues out of the way. So while he has some spotty experience, certainly not telecom war fire experience like he'll need here. So a big ask for him. See the Camille banned away. That's actually a flex pick for SKT. Even recently, we've seen Blank play a lot of the Camille jungle. Italy Camille were his two biggest picks in the jungle role. Rengar was the next one. So very well could see the Rengar from SKT.
Kha'Zix, another option here as well. Score, of course, lifetime, phenomenal Kha'Zix player, 77% win rate, something like that, sitting on about a 5.6 KDA on the champion of all time across 22 games. Two of those games this season though, Papa Smithy, and they were both losses.
We did see the Alistair for a moment. Soraka would again be a crazy one. You don't really see too much backline threat short of the ultimate from Kalista at this point, but let's see if there's fishing for information. We've seen a lot of mind games so far from the side of KT. A Soraka would be surprising. The Alistair would be classic Mata.
Absolutely, and this is what I wanted in game number one. I wanted every game that I see any of these supports that have been known for their Alistair play. We were treated to Gorilla earlier. We were treated to Wraith as well in the series before.
It's unsealed.
Oh, we're going to have double Spellbook bottom lane, most likely.
We have double AP too, if it's going to be the Vladimir lock-in here. Vladimir does not win the matchup against Gnar in any significant way. We only have one game of recent evidence, but it was actually the Gnar making the winning side of the matchup. Spectre's Cal into Black Cleaver, and a long enough lane, you can actually, with Hyper, burst down. Well, burst is a strong word, but take down a Vladimir.
Oh, I really like this. If this is where Blank is going to go on the J4, his last performance didn't actually die on the champion, is one of those tanky frontline threats, can build really strong, but also has the presence in the early game. The other option obviously was the Zac, decides not to go for it.
And Zac could be the final pick here for KT if they feel good enough about the lanes. The question is, can they afford to go for a Zac or a Shyvana, which would be another choice that's possible. The lanes are strong from KT, but drafting Shyvana in pro play is still pretty unexplored. We know the power of the champion in solo queue when you go for a red smite and kill people with the press of the attack, but it's probably going to have to be a bit more measured from Score, and he looks at the lanes and feels strong enough to go for the Shyvana. Still a risk though. Interesting drafts here from KT and SKT. Seems like we're going to have a little bit of a delay, maybe a remake coming through here of the lobby, but we know the champion, so all the information is out there for you, OGN Legion.
Got absolutely everything, do not worry. Looked like Deft and Mata were potentially unable to swap their champions around.
Getting a confirmation from Joel that there will be a remake. The lobby froze, so it seems like no one's getting a penalty. I guess we should mention, because of what we saw earlier in the week, actually last week, Crown disconnecting from the lobby early, that was deemed intentional, and KSV actually drew a penalty from that. So that means if they do anything like show up to the studio late or anything else that incurs a penalty, they'll actually lose a match point. In this case, it's deemed a bug, so from what we understand, there will be no penalty laid to either the feet of KT or SKT.
Yep. Does mean that we've got a little bit more time to talk about this draft as well, Papa Smithy.
I love it.
Having Score on the Shyvana, I do actually have his stats up here, so I haven't actually seen much of his Shyvana, and in fact, I have never seen it in pro play because no one's ever seen it in pro play, Papa Smithy.
I'll be able to double check that on my stats database, but sounds right. Shyvana jungle, you know, was a thing. You think back to what, season 2, right?
Yeah.
When Gambit Gaming was running around.
Moscow 5.
Then Moscow 5. Shyvana top also a thing, and Shyvana's been so edge of the meta and basically a non-factor, but kind of Score's entire lifetime as a jungler. Only debuted as a jungler in 2015. And it does sound right that it'll be his first visit on the champion. Definitely low lane impact, but they feel good about Rise versus Azir. They actually feel surprisingly good about Gnar against Vladimir, because it seems like that matchup is either equal or maybe even slightly Gnar favored, and the laning phase in bot lane is not going to be too much of a headache on paper. The on paper worked for KT in game 1. We don't know the reliability of it. Bank getting his little battle yawn out of the way for now, but Fire will certainly hit the rift soon.
And also getting the pep talk from Coma as well. You often see him over at Bang's chair, just making sure that he gets in the mindset. And I understand it because this is not one of those games where Bang is sitting on one of those lower tier champions. Bang has been known to be an extraordinary Kalista player. And this is one of those times where he is given all of the power. We've got the coveted picks, the Varus, extraordinarily high up there with his abuse of the Rage Blade, and Kalista certainly being looked at as one of those at the same time. We're looking much closer to getting into the game.
Bang is 30-4 in his career. 30 wins, 4 losses on Kalista. Was undefeated for his first 25+ games. It's been a pick for him, but recently he's prioritized things like Ezreal above it. Ezreal not available here. A lot of intriguing matchups. On paper, it seems like KT should be happy, and the Shyvana mid to late game, only Spirit has really unlocked. Game 2 of a telecom war. We've never had a 2-0 for KT with their current lineup since the start of 2017. They've never even won a best-of series, Atlas.
And this roster hasn't even got a 2-0 at all. Either way in this matchup, we're always going to game 3. So we'll see whether it happens again, ladies and gentlemen, as we head to the Rift for game 2. SKT fans certainly showing up. We're in a packed Soli Stadium right here, Papa Smithy. Everyone wanting to check out the telecom war.
Yeah, whether they're first or last, the KT and SKT fans will always come to deem who is the victor between these two famous companies. If you're new to the telecom war, KT and SKT are the two primary mobile phone carriers here, so Verizon versus AT&T. If you're an American, understand that this is definitely high stakes. These teams are both very well supported, very well paid, superstars everywhere. But SKT,
and also for Australians, of course, Optus versus Telstra. You know, we gotta help them out.
Where were you on the side of Optus versus Telstra?
Well, I mean, custom support-wise, it's all about Optus, but as far as coverage, you have to go with Telstra.
I'm just saying, which side were you on?
Telstra.
There you go. I was a Telstra man too. I guess we're biased.
Yeah, there we go. But we're not biased when it comes to SKT versus KT. Both of us, KT Internet, and we have SKT telephone service. So
I was stipulated by Riot Games, so we had to do it. Just kidding.
If only. That would have been going a little bit too deep. That is going to be the red buff leash, though, coming out for SKT.
The man on your screen a moment ago, that man Blank that you're mentioning, is kind of the game breaker here, because we're saying, oh, all the lanes look pretty good, and we know how scary Shyvana is if she shows up with a Devourer and a Frozen Mallet without too much action happening. The lanes are looking decent. Outside of a moment of brilliance from a man like Faker, it feels like the jungler is that great unknown variable that always messes up the scientific equation that is team comps on paper. So let's see what things Blank can make happen. He was a bit of a voyeur, just kind of watching on as KT dominated in game 1. Needs to be more active in game 2 to give his team something to work.
Upon hits level 2, you can see already Faker is dominating this lane. We had a feeling that maybe he'd be able to navigate this early game quite well because he knows the other side of the matchup so exquisitely. 4 games already on the rise so far in the LCK. We haven't seen a lot of Faker's Azir though. Of course, haven't seen it this season, and of course was out of the meta in the last season. Has historically played it to such great effect, but it's been a while.
It was a pretty big meme back when Azir was really center of the meta, which I'm thinking back to 2015, that, you know, Faker wasn't even the best Azir on his team. Back when
there was a certain Hoon,
Easy Hoon, one of his small effective champion pool was the Azir, but the thing about Faker's Azir that people miss is that actually, when you look at his win rate on the champion, predictably in a team that's done well, he's actually always been very capable on it. And if he didn't have the single champion mastery that necessarily Easy Hoon had, he was always impressive in his own right on the Azir. So certainly someone who can play-make. They have a lot of playmaking options now for SKT. Even if you see Vladimir come in from the flank to 10% damage amp on a beautiful Azir sec play, might be enough to just ravage KT. So no guarantees, even with the draft. Looking pretty good for KT roster.
Well, speaking of looking pretty good, SKT are able to look and see that the Gromp hasn't been taken just yet. You can see Score heading back down, grabbing the Wolves before picking that one up. They will have eyes on the Shyvana.
Ana doesn't go for Unsealed Spellbook, so we'll not be going for what seems like the flavor of the month rune onto the Alistar that was made famous by Ming over in the LPL just has Ignite, so certainly has a lot of all-in power with the Aftershock proc and Ignite. Maybe just wants to prey upon effort and surprise him with early damage.
See, thankfully Bang wearing his own skin on the Callista.
At least someone on SKT will use their own skin.
Yeah, exactly. Faker disappointing us every single time.
Certainly won't be using Easy Hoods as your skin.
Although that would have been the best troll. The man that never uses a skin when it's not even his for his team. Perfect. Doesn't quite have that sense of humor though.
Only take delight in winning.
Yeah.
Which is usually the mark of a real champion. Like you say, he's in luck. He's won a lot.
He certainly has. Not as much recently though. Wants to get back to that point. Saw a big smile on his face actually before game number 1. Able to throw a bit of harassment on top of him though. Teleport going to be utilized. Like heading back. Downsealed spellbook, allowing Pawn to stay in this lane quite well. And a decent back timing with the tier picked up alongside the Ruby Crystal, so we'll be a little bit more healthy.
Missile Mask heavily expected here to be able to just withstand the lane, and then Shyvana has good magic damage, a little bit of hyper from the Gnar, but also Varus is heavily expected to go for the Rage Blade and have his own magic damage as well, so a lot of value from the Abyssal Mask passive, along with the laning stats it'll give him.
Abuse onto Pawn here in the mid lane, as you can see. Headbutt Pulve lands down onto Bang, Unbreakable a little bit late. Block that hail of arrows.
Seems like Deft is just Unseal Spellbook on every AD carry. Found a new favorite rune.
I think so.
It's already been more successful than his attempt at a new summoner in the Teleport Jace he tried.
Well, exactly. I was about to mention that one as well. That was a long time ago, digging back into the history books, but that was an abundantly clear misplay.
If we're going to go through the history books to find things to praise, we have to also go through the history books and laugh a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't spoken about Mata and his support options, and we'll save that if we get some extra downtime, because that one's a little bit more of a storied history. But so far the bottom lane, not as explosive, certainly not as one-sided as we saw in game number 1, which is a good news story for SKT. The more even these lanes are, the better it is for Blank on this J4, because the Shyvana not going to be doing a lot of work ganking early.
If it just keeps going even, if no one's dying, still pretty good times for KT as Mata takes too much free damage.
Yeah.
Again, ceteris paribus, or other things being equal, Shyvana getting a free jungling phase to just farm up, doesn't have a farm lead, but camping a little bit behind. But Shyvana just getting a free jungle, rest of the attack, heavily expecting Score to go Frozen Mallet second. If 2 items Shyvana isn't punished, and short of Jarvan and CC, you just can't really emulate the teamfight damage and presence of a Shyvana.
Yeah, it feels like a top laner, to be honest. Half the time, he'll do more damage than your top laner, unless it's something like a Jace. Probably should do more than Smith. Some of these teamfights. But we'll also see a lot more priority on that Dragon as well, getting those permanent stacks, making sure Scores as powered up as possible, see whether he heads down there. He's level 6, Blank also level 6.
It's just nice to see KT responding in draft, because there was definitely a long time in spring especially where KT knew how to draft strong for their style, right? They knew what a winning KT comp would look like, but sometimes they were a bit tone deaf for what the enemy was running. I think of the Talon top, where they kind of over-pursued on win lane, win game, and no other way to take down a team like SKT. This time, they see strong lanes, and there is the latitude for a Zac or a Shyvana without just losing lanes and then the Shyvana getting invading and never getting going. So for a time to pick Shyvana, it's a pretty good one. Whether Shyvana will be effective or not, that much is still to be decided.
Yeah, it doesn't quite have the Blood Razor, so it finishes off the recurve bow. It's finally ahead in farm as Blank is going to hand over this blue buff. Blue spawning a little bit later here for KT as Pawn could potentially teleport back, but actually decides not to. Utilizes the fact that Faker had to go and collect his blue, doesn't actually show up the wave, and so Pawn with that summoner spell available, meaning that KT do have global options here in the earlier stages of the game.
Blank's pathing through mid lane isn't spotted by the control ward that was placed. Pawn's actually playing towards the area that Faker has vision supremacy.
Yeah, but he is going to get shoved back. Pawn uses his stopwatch and gets under the turret. That was swift thinking from Pawn.
Even brings the minion wave back. Feels good,
Yeah.
man. As Scorer, if he's face checked, can actually do insane damage to Blank, but he's just waiting, lying in wait.
Oh, Sansol putting in there.
That was so heads up by Faker. That's the one area that wasn't being scouted by Blank, and he even gives him coverage there. So smart move. from the mid laner. No surprise for Faker.
Piercing arrow coming in. You can see Deft here has actually got a stopwatch as well. Stopwatches are plenty on the bottom side of the map, apart from effort. He's decided not to go for it.
Now, they do have the earlier push. They're happy to push in. Smite.
Oh, look at that score. So much better. You get that auto attack reset. He can pick up the smites like nobody's business.
I mean, on this day, 2 out of 2 reward, but the fact that Score is smiting it, it's almost no value from blue buff. Is
probably not.
Still a win for SKT.
Didn't want to go into that, Smithy. You got to shout out.
We don't tell half stories over here. No half truths, only full truths here, Atlas. We're Mythbusters.
It's his 401st game. Okay.
Fake news away, please.
Okay, Blank's going to clear out some vision. SKT understanding that having vision available around the dragon is certainly a good idea when there is a dragon on the enemy team.
More appropriate. Nice control ward on the enemy red buff. They're hoping won't be scouted, gives them ideas of which quadrant. And look at that. Look at these 2 wards. I love the control ward on the red buff. They have vision of the Raptors and also vision. Basically, there's no entrance for Score to enter his own jungle and not be spotted. So wherever Jarvan is, he'll have a very good idea of knowing which side of the jungle that Score is on. And now that he doesn't see him on any of the wards, he should probably feel that maybe even some of his own camps are going to be at risk.
Yeah, Score actually making his way over through the vision as well, which is useful. You can see so much forward vision effort.
The blue
also
ping,
adding
it's really cool. So the blue ping was actually onto the Rift Herald because one of the few places they can't see. So now where Score is, he's ruining the jungle. Blank.
Actually denies that little wolf. Haven't seen a lot of denial.
And it's the famous Moscow 5 skin as well.
Yeah.
That was the one that both Darian and also Diamond Crocs were using.
I liked the bone one a little bit more. Of course, both of them looking brilliant. Okay, Room Prison down on a fake. It's Pawn that's taking the poor end of this trade. And they were right, to a certain extent, Papa Smithy, because it will be Score taking the Rift Herald after destroying the jungle, like you mentioned with Blank. There's Tal, Smeb going so aggressive.
It's one of those matchups where I think people have misread how Vladimir does it. It's fine, but not great.
Oh, don't want to face check Score.
Yep, press the attack. You guys are wondering why Shyvana's so prized. She's the best and really only user in competitive play of press the attack. The ability to instantly proc it means that a damaged jungler that brings almost no CC can auto Q, and then every bit of damage from burnout and everything after that is proccing the extra 12% damage that press the attack gives you. People thought it would be press the attack vain, but how many trades are actually 6 to 9 auto attacks in lane? Almost none. One is Shyvana, instant proc into the rest of her kit, doing huge damage, means that press the attack works very well for her.
Yeah, and now gonna do a whole bunch of work taking down this Rift Herald as well. This Blood Raise is completed. You can see Score's damage has sort of exploded at this stage. Once you grab that first jungle item, and you were talking about having to deny the Shyvana, they will deny her the first Cloud Drake of the game. So it will be the more valuable, I guess, overall objective in the Rift Herald, but Cloud Drake going to be picked up and the Dragon denied. KT.
You definitely feel good denying Drakes away from a Shyvana. There's that 5 armor and magic resist for every kill, but you know, Rift Herald is definitely more prized than a single Cloud Drake, and it's going to be Ocean next, so KT are actually going to be afforded the latitude to maybe play away from the Dragon and not necessarily just play bottom side. There's no mountains or infernals to occupy their mind.
Oof, Mata making his way in. Of course, Mata and Gorilla probably most known for their abilities to get around the map on Alistair. Sort of share that particular characteristic. Mata using it a little bit more to get vision down, because that's of course his MO, but both of them certainly knowing where to be at the right time.
I mean, we sat here
himself out.
Yeah, we sat here pre-game and we looked at Mata's champions he's played so far this season, Braum, Tahm Kench, and Taric, and both of us said would love to see a playmaker from him. You know,
yeah.
Mata, of course, can play disengaged support, but made his name on Alistair and Thresh especially, so really nice to see him on a champion with engage options after so far just being a disengaged god. As vision has been good from SKT. They know which side of the jungle that the Shyvana is on, but the camp respawn timers would have told them that, and now they don't have the same sort of coverage on the top side. So apart from knowing where he started, Shyvana's fast, Shyvana's going to keep roaming, and they no longer have tabs on the score.
Yeah, feels like KT have made it through this early game extraordinarily well. 200 gold is the lead. We have KT Rollstar. SKT not punishing it. Of course, they do have a composition that scales beautifully well. Think about the AoE potential of this comp. You add Hemoplague, amplifying all damage that's coming in. Bang's going to be sticking his little sticks into multiple people after that 2-item spike comes in with the Hurricane. And then you've got Faker, Sand Soldiers. They're just happy to stab in directions, Papa Smithy. They'll do damage to everyone.
It does feel like Faker holds all the trump cards. 2 consistent damage threats between the Azir. Plus, then honestly, Vladimir, once he gets 5 points into Tides of Blood, also falls in that category. A lot of consistent damage, but also, you know, the transfer could just be blown away by a dive from Shyvana. So Faker's use of the Emperor's Divide, I think, will be the really big treat in team fights. He can deny a lot of what KT's setting up, short of, say, a huge flank coming through from Smeb. He kind of has the tools to carry a game, which is always scary. It's why something like Azir fits him like a glove, because of the carry potential. There's no guarantees about any of that.
The thing that I'm excited about is what KT is going to do around Baron towards the mid to late game. Looking at about 10 minutes from now, see Rift Herald is going to be flying forward, but we're still at only 15 minutes into the game, because Realm Walk plus Shyvana plus Deft on this attack speed based, potentially Blade of the Ruin King building Varus is an option, but the Cataclysm goes down on the bottom side. Deft is in trouble. We've got Unbreakable Will. Deft holds onto the flash and the heal for a long time. Mata, he's going to get out, but he doesn't have the ult anymore. That's 4 members of SKT. Mata will waste their time, exactly. But 4 will be able to grab it. But look at Smeb and Score. They'll take 2 turrets in trade for this.
Yeah, I don't know if Tol should have actually teleported out of this lane, because he guarantees that 2 turrets would go down. It was very telegraphed by SKT. Put down the deep ward, the summer special that we saw basically every game of LCK Summer, but losing 2 turrets in an instant. Alice, this is the sort of game where that is actually going to be a double whammy, because whenever you have an extremely long lane, 2 turrets down in a side lane this early against Ryze, the Ryze push-up vision into Realm onto Baron becomes possible.
Well, Bond's actually looking for Faker. Emperor's Divide comes in, but here's the cavalry. Dragon's Descent flies forward. The flash after Faker. The Realm Walk to make sure that we've got a Rune Prison available. Flash is on top. Good double knockup from Blank, but it's all too late.
Very nice chase by KT. They knew their limits. They wanted to kill that MVP from the side of SKT. He's down. They push up vision. No Baron to take too early in the game, but KT control the map again.
This is really scary if you're an SKT fan. KT are playing like they know exactly what their comp needs to do.
Yeah, chasing the Jarvan out of the jungle as they rotate members around. This is beautiful macro from KT. They get an advantage, they kill the Azir, the Emperor of Shurima is in the death chamber. They also chase out the jungler. No one's gonna be slowing down this turret take. 3rd of the game for KT.
Yep, and Smeb shoved up that top lane means that he can now lie in wait, gatekeep on this bottom side. We've got a minute before the Ocean Drake comes up. Will then mean that 2 minutes after that, the Baron will be in contention. And Pawn, he's even going to be able to get out when Blank finds him shopping.
Sleeping Giants, both KT and SKT after 2 games. We weren't sure about the strength of either.
Yeah.
We still are not 100% convinced by KT. There's been too many KT moments in their first 2 sets to really believe in KT, to get excited about KT.
Oh, you even quoted it. I quoted it last time we saw them, but I feel like you're right. There's got to be a time when saying you're excited is okay.
The thing about KT here is that there really hasn't been the KT-esque mistake. This has been 1.5 games where they have looked more calculated, where they haven't made obvious one-man mistakes. We haven't seen all 5 of them fire, but we haven't seen any of them misfire. And for KT Rolster fans, that's at least a building block towards the high expectations they want to grow for this 5-man lineup.
Yep. The rush of blood to the head that we're just so used to expecting has not come in. SKT now lying in wait, trying to get that Cataclysm, Hemoplague, Emperor's Divide combo working out for them, but none of the bait is being taken.
3 vision clearing is not there for Blank. That's why Blank's not going to try and clear that control ward. He saw the Alistair and backed away.
Yep, we got the wave being shoved out here from Smeb on the bottom side of the map. Both of these outer turrets have been taken, so that's a long lead that can be prepped by one of these top laners or anyone that can make their way down there.
Note that even though they have extensive control ward vision forward, it's starting to be cleared in SKT's red side jungle. Post 20 minutes, they're going to move all that vision to the blue side jungle and try that Realm Walk Baron. Baron can really be the icing on the cake for KT. But because they're only 18 minutes in, second Drake of the game would be nice.
Yep. Oh, well, Marta's going to be able to get in here. Dragon's Descent comes down, so score. Massive in the front line. Good disengage from SKT. There's a lot of buttons are being pressed, so no Glacial Fissure available, and Bang doesn't have his ultimate either.
Draw out the ultimate from Shyvana, who already hit her items very early, so Dragon not being available is another teamfight tool that KT had denied. Now SKT are going to keep cutting between threatening the mid lane and threatening this Drake, and they know that at least one big tool, and even the Varus ultimate as well, are down.
Oh, that was almost the Deft special with a potential face check. A lot of vision being available here as Deft standing in the back line, SKT regrouping. The thing that I absolutely love about this, Papa Smithy, if we do have an opportunity to talk about it, is the fact that if SKT try to deny this Dragon, it's going to be so easy for that Realm Warp to be used and the Baron to be obliterated by KT if they have the correct vision and the correct information on the side of KT.
Really big fight for effort. He desperately wants vision. That crevice towards a sea rise on the top side as well. That means SKT know it's a 5v4 for now.
Yep, they're looking to start up this Dragon, but look at what Smeb's able to do. Able to buy some space. Oh, the flash not quite enough. Emperor's Divide will mean that Pawn's going to be in trouble. No more stopwatch, no more opportunities. Hemo Plague locks down Deft, and this is the SKT that we've been waiting to wake up. They grab the 2 picks, and this could mean Baron.
Yeah, they're going to definitely turn onto the Baron. Score is still alive, but with no flash, does have the ultimate available. They're turning onto that objective, waiting for that KT mistake. We see it there. They were spread too thin, trying too many different ideas for a flank. See Shyvana actually going to be trading Ocean for the Baron. Not a great trade, but they believe in SKT's ability to deny. Free Baron to SK Telecom T1.
That's incredibly impressive. SKT waiting patiently. We were talking about KT as far as having the options. Wasn't the case. KT walked into their trap, and of course, it's the man in the mid lane for SKT that set it all up. The Emperor's Divide, even a flash couldn't get Pawn out of the way.
So remember that Ryze was seen topside, went into mid. They collapse on Ryze. Shyvana's out of position. Nara's out of position. They're around the Drake. There's no way for them to get there. Pawn is too far advanced, and Faker's killer instinct kicks in, and then unfortunately Varus is trained down. The Alistar's caught with ultimate, doesn't matter, dies as well. It wasn't a huge invitation like we've seen from KT in the past, or even in their past 2 best of 3s, but a big enough one anyway for the best player of all time to turn around this game.
Yeah. Now, what are SKT going to be able to use this Baron for is the question. Blank now is going to be clearing out some vision, but looks like a 1-2-1 setup with Blank floating seems to be some sort of the option.
Does allow them to get the map control. They've kind of been denied ever since they took the downward trade and gave up the 2 turrets in the top lane. Doesn't mean that they have to respect effort though, as Smeb's going to keep walking up.
Yeah, Bang is going to be here, so maybe a little bit, but oh, this could be the face check. In trouble, thankfully, the blast cone's there. Faker starts the onslaught of the turrets. Second one to go down for SKT this series.
Definitely not going to be an inhibitor breaking Baron, but it's going to be a map control and also turret equalizing Baron. All that SKT is looking for. They needed that Baron desperately. The foothold back in the game. Now they're looking stronger. We saw Blank having coverage for Faker taking the top lane turret. Hasn't been able to get near it because of all previous damage in the top lane. And mid lane's also going to go down.
Yep. Should be an easy outer ring being taken. Not sure whether they're going to be able to definitely grab these inner turrets, but Faker looking to try and get some poke damage down. Deft gets out of the way of most of it as Score's trying to clear out what remains of his jungle.
So much threat onto Deft. Remember, no flash Deft, no flash Pawn. And a Zersec play from Faker to just ice 2 kills if he gets the right time.
Yeah, you can see Pawn actually sold his broken stopwatch as well, so no Zhonya's to be coming from that particular Fiendish Codex. Slow onto Score as well. It's really hard to get on top, but the Ghost is actually drawn out, but that does spell the end of the inner turret in the mid lane.
Big Baron buff power play when it comes to gold. Will not break the base, but the next time Teamfight victory happens, inhibitors go down, KT fall behind further. Such a big tempo swing we've seen in this game. Items looking strong as well. 2 items on Kalista and Azir. Both of them continue to power up. And Vladimir also showing good presence in the bot side after being able to get to the backline in the last fight. The reality of going for a no-escape carry against Vladimir is that someone can get the flank the one time Vladimir does, able to assassinate Deft. And now KT Rolls can make no more mistakes. Maybe they've already made one mistake too many.
That's what it feels like, Papa Smithy. Have to say that That moment felt incredibly pivotal for SKT, and slowly but surely, Bang is getting to the point where he is going to be a complete monster. We were talking about Faker, it was about him in that play earlier, but what that's done is set up Bang for almost easy success as we move towards the later stages of the game. 1-0-2, but has those two items that you need and the QSS that Callistas absolutely love. He's in a great spot.
SKT's team fight is much more of a known quantity than KT. KT needs to have a moment of brilliance, catch someone unawares, really pull off a true 5v5. If a fight just starts with Score jumping in, Azir, Callista, Vladimir, and play front to back and obliterate a front line very, very well. Best way to deal with SKT is to kite out the damage or find a pick, as we might have seen a pick here.
Yep, teleport does come in. Good flash, gets out of the way of the headbutt for Blank. They do get to summon a spell as Bang. He's going to turn up. Deft's here as well, though, so Smeb, he's not in any trouble, but Thal doesn't have teleport. He's got the Ghost on the bottom side with his spellbook, and he's going to look to push this one out. Means that KT has the man advantage, but not the confidence to try and take on SKT.
And the man advantage doesn't mean anything when you've only blown one flash. That's on the Jarvan, who can still face check and flag and drag away. And always back and get the teleport, swap it out for Ghost. Such the flexibility of the unsealed spellbook. Just return to normalcy. Another objective piles up for SKT. They now have a 6,000 gold.
Getting very scary if you're a KT fan. The early game looked so good. KT trying something new, giving Score all of the space, making sure that the lanes are able to control themselves. That one moment, that one juggle around the Baron to the Dragon. SKT just playing together better as a unit. Faker turning it on. Haven't seen too much from him the last few minutes. Been about 6. But when will the next play happen? Will it be KT looking for desperation, or will it be SKT just tearing down turrets like it looks like they're doing right now? No Smeb available, no teleport for him either, and they, 4 of them, just watch as the turret falls down. There's a Cataclysm as Blank. The stopwatch is used, but he's in turret range. In goes Bang, and he's getting 3 shots. Score is going to be the first one down there under the turret. The 2-man Emperor's Divide, and these will be all of those Ren stats being torn out. Pawn's going to fall. It's a triple kill for the Calista. Smeb is massive, gets a brilliant wallop on top of Bang, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so. I think the base is still going to be broken.
Faker just overwhelms everyone. They see a time. Nara's not there. They dive it, and it works. Atlas, they're able to secure the kills. Can they actually end the game? 15 seconds on to Score. First thought is no, but still, it feels like that's the last dagger through the heart needed to take down KT Rolster and force a game 3.
Yep, I feel like Smeb may have just saved them from losing the game right there. However, still looking so dire and Blank. This almost looked like a ridiculous engagement, but it all pays off.
Yeah, he has the stopwatch. Tol has the ability to goes down, and then they just turn it on. Smeb is in mini-Gnar. They see that little bit of information. Smeb in the mid lane with mini-Gnar. Ghost is popped. Faker goes in. Easy cleanup here on the side of SKT, and even a great 3-man Gnar doesn't matter when there's no men behind you to capitalize on.
Yeah, and that was exactly what we were talking about as far as the Wombo combo that they have available to them. SKT is going to deny yet another Dragon. So it was at least the Ocean going to KT, but it's all bad news otherwise. And Hemoplague onto 4 members, and then all of them smashed down with the Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, Bang able to get all of the work done that he wants to. 4-1 and 4 now. 8 out of 9 kill contribution. His Callista should never go to him, ever.
It's been a team performance. He's the only person short of 100% kill participation. It's 90% or above.
That's true.
The entire team performance required as Scores all alone.
Yeah, 401 isn't exactly the best game for Score thus far. He's going to finally use the stopwatch and gets a little bit angry. You can understand why. He's going to the death chamber, 4 versus 5, as SKT follows some super creeps towards the enemy base.
Really good stuff from KT. Reminds me of Kingzone yesterday, being able to turn it on the moment they got even a sniff of an opportunity. Smart is left all alone as SKT want even more than just the cow.
Yeah, Unbreakable Will's looking real breakable at this point, Papa Smithy, and it's just kill after kill. SKT know that when they're given an inch, they know exactly what to do. Smeb on the wrong side of this situation. Already the backs are coming in, but this will cost them an inhibitor. We've got super creeps on the Nexus. Bang actually wanting to get Nexus turret damage. This will be all of the inhibitors going down. Looks like game number 3, it felt inevitable because every time we see this iteration of KT versus SKT, it goes the distance apart from the spring final.
The insane thing is, Atlas, that we've had all the best of 3s, 2 best of 5s, and yet there's only ever been one game that didn't go 3 games because the spring final was a 3-0.
Yep.
It was only the reverse sweep from SKT that did not go 3 games. Went the full 5 that time as SKT turned on to Baron, and sorry KT, you're not going anywhere near it.
Nope. We're going to get our money's worth. That's the brilliant part. Selling tickets to the Telecom War is pretty easy because you know you're going to get all of those games. History has certainly taught us that one. And if there's any night where you want to be at work a little bit longer, it's certainly a night like tonight.
Game 3 will be KT on blue side. So far the series has gone blue side focus. How much of this game was Bang being back on Kalista certainly helped with their initiation. To me, the game was more decided by KT actually opening the door and SKT still being that high-class team to take advantage out of a mistake. In every iteration, through every lineup, that has been an SKT standby. Maybe they're in the early game, they fall behind. Maybe they actually don't have the tempos at the start of the mid game, but ever give them a chance and they will put you to bed. That's what they've done for KT in game 2. Feels like whatever happens this game, we're all but ready to ink the win for SKT and that mouth-water in game 3.
Oh yeah. We'll remember that KT get to move back to the blue side, which has been somewhat of a power play. Got a ghost coming out somewhere. But it was actually flashed from Mata used on having to use the ghost. Still able to move pretty quickly, but now it's that suffocation. It's that full power SKT knocking on your door. Super creeps, Baron buff, everything that they could possibly need. 2 minutes remaining of that purple aura, and Mata's just getting chunked. He will have to use the ultimate if he wants to try and start anything. Def getting some decent damage, but he doesn't have the items that he had in the last game, and these turrets are getting smashed down. Blank jumps his way forward. Def has to deal with that. Both turrets removed. Smeb's gonna get destroyed. Score easily follows. Pawn trying to get damage down where he can, but Tal isn't even gonna die. It's a triple kill for the god of the mid lane, and now they'll take down the Nexus. SKT will let it go the distance. It's a quadra in the end, and the king is back.
You never write the story of the Telecom War until the match is over after game 1. KT looked oh so good. The game
banning all of the hyper carries that you don't want to see.
You've seen a lot of 80 carry bans so far, and SKT have banned Kog'Maw on blue and red side, not prioritizing or allowing Deft to go that way, even though Deft recently hasn't been playing that in competitive play. If you look at the bans, game 1's Rise, Vayne, and Sivir taken away on blue side, and Kog'Maw, Kalista, Ezreal on the red side. So let's see how many more of these 80 carries we banned away. This is a first round Sivir ban. We banned away. This is a first round Sivir ban from KT.
I feel like KT are angling themselves for their own Kalista pickup. Deft, of course, was known for it. If Azir gets banned here, you know exactly what KT want. Trading the Ezreal for the Kalista would be the option.
I think SKT, if given the choice, will kind of leave open one rather than ban one away. So we'll see what KT want to do. Are they going to opt into trying to trade up? Final ban here could be Azir, like you mentioned, but it's going to be the Zoe. So just do not want to see a first Zoe in competitive play. Doesn't mean the Azir, like you say, is still left available, and it's going to be a Galio ban to stop that being the KT strategy again.
Ezreal traded for Kalista could be an option, with KT locking in the Azir if they don't want SKT to pick it up, but no. Deft going to be getting his hands on a coveted pick for him. We speak about Bang playing the Ezreal all the time. We were talking about Teddy, and he was doing ridiculous things on the champion. Deft has been a phenomenal Ezreal player since he started playing League of Legends.
But it's not a trade you feel bad about if you're SKT. Getting the Kalista basically for free is not a bad thing. 31-4 now is the career record. But Bang on that Kalista, and then drop the Vladimir very early. Faker's been playing this in solo queue, and we know already that Tal has been playing it a lot too.
I'm excited, Pop Smithy.
Why is that?
In China, Pawn played a hell of a lot of Ezreal.
We're not going to see Ezreal. I guess, you know, that would be pretty insane, but I know you're hoping for the Kalista here, and then the surprise, you know, the wool over the eyes for SKT, but I think we're more likely to see a mid lane Vladimir than we are to see a mid lane Ezreal.
I know, but
I know that's not a big thing to say, but
if you can't get excited, you got to get excited about picks. And this is a good option here for Pawn. Deny that Azir, deny exactly the same top side of the map combination from SKT as well by taking this one.
2-0 on Azir this season, so it's been a good recent pick for Pawn. Denial, like you say, no Rise to muddy the works. The famous Faker champion, Rise and Zoe, 2 bans towards Faker this game.
Now it's at the Braum.
Yeah, the Braum would have been possible, but they're going to take Tahm Kench over it, even though Tahm Kench against specifically the Vladimir doesn't offer the most, so he's going to look for the denial of pick power, and SKT, last option to take the Kalista. We'll just lock it in here.
I actually love that as well, because KT can now freely ban away the Braum, ban away anything that they don't want, and they knew that the Kalista had to be locked in. There was no other real option here for SKT.
I wonder what the 2 bans would be. I guess Braum and also the Taric might be the choice here. Alistair left open just because you're worried about the Taric teamfight comp that you can already see threatened here. 2-item Kalista plus a Taric ultimate probably means a teamfight win against basically any team, so we'll see if it's a double ban of support, but it's Kalista, so Kalista Rakan, Kalista Alistair, those are both very famous duos.
There's certainly options. Kalista Thresh, another one as well. Not entirely familiar with what effort wants to go towards if he's building for Kalista. It looked great on the Braum, they could just opt for that, but the Malzahar is going to be the one taken away here. Faker going to see a bit of the priority in the ban list. Already 3 bans against him from KT, and theoretically them banning themselves out with a couple of flex picks.
Still a real chance we do see the Vladimir flex to mid lane, especially if we keep going in on the mid lane champion pool.
Yeah.
Wait and see what the final ban is. Will it be the Braum, or will it just be double ban of mid lane? Wait to see what is decided here. You're going to ban the Xerath. Definitely not a champion that Faker's found a lot of success on, but it is, on paper, a very good matchup into the Azir.
Doesn't always outrange.
Yes, exactly. The Shurima mid lane, where you get your Lost Chapter, an Inside Rod item, and you start to really kind of dictate to the Azir, so they're trying to provide as much coverage as possible, and SKT smartly will wait till last pick to decide what to do with the Vladimir. On the blue side here, for KT, still could be a last pick Kassadin, you should remember, as a option against the Azir. Risky, but certainly possible for Faker.
Smeb, feels like it could be a game where the Narc could be locked in again, or we could be
Jacks,
seeing scores Jungle Jacks once again. Looked pretty good the last time we spotted it.
Was a big trend in solo queue ever since it was debuted by Malrung last year. Still a chance it could be top lane, but heavily expected to be a Jungle Jacks. Waiting to see what the top lane choice into what they assume is Vladimir. They're probably going to think of safety, something like Ornn could be considered, but Maokai also very, very flexible. They don't go for the Ornn because the Braum has been selected, so I like that. They're like, all right, we're not 100% sure. We can't go for the sort of lane that can be counterpicked. Maokai does well against basically everything. So safety first from KT.
Yeah, the GP was left available though. Smeb not opting in for that one. Of course, historically, Pawn in Telecom Wars past has played that champion as well, but if Ornn gets a free lane, that feels pretty damn good. An effort, he's going to lock that one away for Tal on the top side.
Maokai gets a free lane, he will also be able to come in and guarantee some initiation, so super initiation from both the Maokai and the Ornn in the top side. Small chance that Score flexes the Maokai to jungle, but whenever we've seen that attempted in Korea, it hasn't worked, so most likely going to be the Jungle Jacks that Score has already played. Didn't really feel like Faker would get frisky and go for the Vladimir. It's a big popular pick in solo queue, even if it's been kind of top lane Vladimir only in the LCK. So teamfight comp from SKT. KT Rolster have good initiation and teamfight options as well. Whenever you see the Ezreal here, you really want to see him to get snowballed to make this draft work. And another look at the Jungle Jacks. That seems like Korea only special at the moment.
Yeah, brilliance in SKT is the fact that they got to see what the matchup was, right? And then they could switch over to the Ornn, make up their decisions later. Seemed like the top lane wasn't going to be a place that was going to be under a lot of pressure, so easily able to make that one happen. And then the Vladimir into Azir, which can be punishment early for the Vlad, but otherwise you just wait on a little while and everything is generally fine. This is 2 teamfight compositions, though, butting heads. Not this time do we see the teams with different identities moving onto the Rift, both of them wanting to gun for about similar timings of where they want to fight.
I want to see Score be really creative with the Jungle Jacks, the ability to path, the ability to gank from huge range that most other junglers can't, sort of maybe a Zac with some levels, gives you a lot of flexibility. I feel like he's the big wild card here. Otherwise, let's get down to business, Atlas. It's time to go to Game 3 of a telecom war, one of the highlights of the year.
Yep, it's terrifying times if you're a KT fan, because often you don't see a victory. We might this time around, though. Let's hit the rift. SKT fans, they know there is certainly power in their court when we're in this situation. 1-1 between KT and SKT.
See the blood in the water, Atlas, and how can you not? Like you were alluding to, history makes for not good reading for KT fans since the start of 2017. Every best of 3 has gone to 3 games, but regardless of whether it was a Game 1 or a Game 2 victory for KT, it was always a Game 3 victory.
Why?
SK Telecom T1. Very strong team fight draft from them in this game.
In fact, it was a Game 3 victory for SK Telecom every single time, even when it was a 3-0 in the best of 5, even when it was a reverse sweep. It seems like you get to number 3, KT doesn't really know what to do.
But there is a number that changed, and that is the year. It is 2018. This is the chance for them to remove the shackles of the KT almost manhood. Not make it work with what was deemed a super team at the start of 2017. So what can happen here? Pawn was talking up a very big game, as we'll know. He's also showing a big game, as you're laughing about. Has gone for the easy here in SKT Azir skin, trying to get in the head of Faker. But Pawn has said, this is my year to stand up. I feel like I really am the top tier mid laner. I can compare myself to anyone in the world, obviously. Subtweeting Faker in many ways with a comment like that. So he's very much saying that he needs to stand up and be counted. Don't think he covered himself in glory with the series so far. Now's his chance.
Well, Deft, he's got the pulse by Ezreal. See whether his Ezreal is going to be able to stand up to Bang's Kalista. The Varus was not enough. This is Bang's Kalista, remember. Of course, this is in the game. I just feel that you immediately have to feel like you're on the back foot. SKT just navigating around these Kalista comps. Around Bang so beautifully well. But this is 2-threat comp versus 2-threat comp. We've got tanks aplenty on both sides, and then Pawn and Deft for KT going to be doing all of that damage. Faker and Bang going to be taking care of it for SKT.
And that's clarifying that, you know, you see Jackson, if it's solo queue you're expecting Blood Razor and Trinity Force, but we're in competitive play, so heavily expecting this to be the tank jungle Jax debuted by Everate winners Malrung, which is basically going full tank. You know, Righteous Glory might be thrown in there, Cinder Hulk as a start. The thing that it does provide is from level 3 onwards, with a ward, you can ward jump, flash, you have very long engage range in the counter-strike, that AoE CC. You can gank mid from directions that only really Rek'Sai and Shaco can because of your flexibility, so there's a lot of options to gank as the jungle Jax, and you have decent base damage just with your passive attack speed and also your ultimate providing you with auto attack reset damage. So this is the part where Jungle Jax comes most online. A huge level 3 power spike above many other junglers. A good vision from SKT and a control ward also will spot him out.
Well, speaking of being spotted out, Blank also going to be discovered by the tree, roaming into the jungle. You can imagine he's pretty comfortable. But Smev and Tal actually having a decent time. Tal with a minion wave gathering up for him to take down, but it looks like Smev has been with a lot of control. Sort of early in the preseason, Maokai was seen as utter dominance, sort of one of the easiest champions to really win lane with on the top side of the map.
Another reason that the tank Jax is possible is press the attack. Means that he will be able to have a bit of damage from his R procs as he on those extended trades and can proc it pretty quickly. Not quite Shyvana, but at decent speed. So visit the runes also help out this more tanky Jax. Blank's mid lane. There is no Jax shadowing him, so definitely man advantage for the side of SKT.
Yep, still Pawn playing to his vision. Control ward down on the bottom side. Blank is going to move his way out. Faker also standing well back, just waiting to pick up this minion wave as it heads under. Score moving over, wants another Rift Scuttler. It's just scuttle destruction here for this guy, able to get a lot of damage in with that CC that's down. Amplifying
Unsealed
the work.
Spellbook Callista. That's what we're seeing here. Trying to get those extra backs. Feels like AD carries really only pick it up for the teleport and then just swap it for the heal later in the game. But the extra backs are very high priority, given the back timing, backing on a cannon minion, all the other things that all you bot lane mains out there in Twitch chat know all about can be subverted with the ability to teleport back into lane.
Yep.
To take a bad trade and still not be punished by the ability to TP back in.
Minion wave location for backs not going to be as much of a priority. We saw, of course, Faker having to move down towards the bottom side on the Corki in game 1. That's not a problem now. But I do like that you bring that up. It means that SKT do not want to have that horror early game that they did experience in the bottom lane in game 1.
In general, this game is seeming slower. I feel like this might be the long game that we've been denied today, Atlas. We haven't seen the big four when it comes to a 40-minute game, and this is the LCK that currently is averaging around 43 minutes. So
Thanks, Gina.
Yep.
SKT.
They have solo been helping out for sure, but still being the norm rather than the rarity. Here we will see that teleport back in. Welcome back, Callista. Vamp Scepter purchased.
As well, actually taking a lot of damage.
I wonder
hold on to that wave.
I wonder if you just lane as KT until 6 and then try to Abyssal Voyage back to lane to get a pseudo teleport of your own.
That's a cute way of doing it. Kleptomancy, of course, way too good on the Ezreal.
Does delay your tier timing and your mirror amount of timing, but the only way that KT can actually get preferential backs. Could also be that Def just gives up on it, goes back and buys tier, and Sheen gives up a minion wave. And given how far he's back, it does seem like no need for the semi-global this time.
Got a red pot as well using that Kleptomancy. A couple of stacks of gold there as well, so the tier and the Sheen are able to be purchased. 6 items, feels good, Ezreal. Yeah. Keeps the red pot, decides not to sell it, trying to get a different item. Of course, feeling very good with this current back though. Actually love the feeling of Sheen tier. Not quite a full mana mute, but that sort of requires you to get some kills.
Love to see what sorcery Faker's up into. Ultimate Hat is very popular on Vladimir, just because you can get it all on a very low cooldown. The Gathering Storm was flavor of the moment in our earlier games today, so wonder if we'll be seeing that on him. Goes in on Pawn.
Yeah, Pawn's just going to be able to get his way out. Be pretty handy.
It's going to be the GP10 route from the Vladimir as well. Plan here is to rush into the completed Frost Queen's claim as fast as possible, and then you no longer have the killing minions penalty when it comes to getting the quest stacks. And when you get that mini ghost effect 3 times in a fight, very, very powerful is the Vladimir. Uses the quest better than almost any other mage, so why it is so highly prized on him.
Yeah, want to try and grab it as early as possible because you do need that 750 gold before it does activate. A little bit harder when you're farming at the same time, that's alright. We'll have that Frost Queen very quickly. Sort of has a lot of things that Vladimir just likes anyway, given the fact that the CDR was added to the Frostfang, so it doesn't even feel that bad to have a passive that isn't able to be utilized necessarily for the money.
It's very gold efficient, obviously not 100% when you're not going to include mana regen, but it's still not such a gold sink that you still feel good about GP10, like you say. Good about the CDR early because 850 gold, and only 500 gold after your starting item for 10% CDR. Old Vladimir builds were the Hextech Revolver early rather than the Kindle Gem early towards the Proto Belt. So you no longer have the Proto Belt early, but you're getting the CDR earlier than usual. Level 7, with 10% CDR, no pushing Vladimir out of lane.
Well, Pawn's going to be able to push him under his turret, at least. He's going to move forward. Crimson Rush just looking for that. Trying to get that extra bit back. That's how you play Vladimir. Just transfuse, transfuse, big transfuse. And
We'll try and solo the Infernal. The answer is yes. Can just ward jump out, so a lot of safety here. Oh yes, the Sweeping Lens, he has a control ward to jump over, and then 1 left on the trackers, so he's in good stead here. Nice spotted. Will he walk up to the Drake? We don't see so far. The answer is yes, but it's going to actually be a smite battle.
Yeah, we'll see whether the score can actually grab it. Does, uses the leap strike as well, and flashes to get his way out. Didn't have an extra ward. Oh, he did have an extra ward, but of course used the leap to secure the dragon.
Yeah, used the Q for dragon secure, so gives up his flash. You see Smab walking down, trying to do some vision clearing, doing a bit of an assist, because they know the blank's going to be basically battle warding against the Jax for a little while now.
Yeah. They can not too worried here in the mid lane to be going down to half health. He is Vladimir, of course. And
does have the Frost Queen's claim completed, so every time he does damage to Pawn, building up those stacks, getting towards that point where you get that burst of speed.
See if this is an 8.1 exclusive build for Vladimir. My first thought is yes, because on 8.2 the quest is removed and a Sightstone is added. Could just mean we become League of Vision, and then maybe we'll see even less kills, so I guess that could happen, but I'm gonna go glass half full and assume that we'll move away from the GP10 on most of the laners.
Possibly even some of the junglers as well. I feel like that quest is working pretty well for the likes of the Skarner, things like that. But
But maybe you can go for a Frostfang early as Nidalee and then just get a red smite rather than a green smite.
challenging smite will work on her.
So for junglers, I think there's some latitude, but for laners, it's a little bit less attractive.
Yeah, even chilling smite as well. I mean, I guess that's theoretically the same maneuver. Faker continuing to be aggressive despite the fact that the health advantage goes to Pawn. Farming up nicely. KT's mid laner. It's a scary prospect though. Every time you look at Faker, it looks like he's the one with the plans moving forward.
How about Ezreal in these scenarios where he's against an unsealed spellbook teleport abuser in the bot lane? Is you can just get Iceborne Gauntlet, and then you probably never need to leave lane. You got Tyr and Iceborne Gauntlet for a lot of mana, a lot of wave control as well. Very hard to chunk out. Not expecting too much attention from Jarvan and Ornn in the laning phase bot side, so mid lane, Faker's getting frisky.
Hemo play goes down. Faker actually wants it, grabs a whole bunch of health back, but in goes Score. Thankfully, pulls there. Faker not going to be taken down. Still has a timepiece. Mata's not even going to be able to add enough. So Pawn gets free back. They shove the wave in. And now so much vision on this bottom side. Everyone knows exactly what's going on, and Def does need to be careful.
This is the time if you're Rolex to get in there and sponsor the stopwatches. You get a lot of lip service during the cast.
Oh yeah.
See what comes first. Probably going to be some adjustments towards some of those utility runes, given that Inspiration has been so dominating as a tree so far. Not in 8.2, those notes online, but not going to be seen in live for a little while. Sorry, competitive for a while. Nice invade from SKT, playing around the pushing lanes, and also the fact that Azir was pushed out. So this in game 2 from SKT, and we see it here as well.
See, Smeb was doing his very best to try and stop that steal, but no way that Smeb could out. Fine. Ramble smash.
How about some more laning, Atlas?
Yeah, I love laning. I'm a big fan.
Good news, got plenty of laning. We do have Infernal into Infernal though, so that's a bit of hot fire that might be fun to watch.
It's all the excitement that we have available to us.
Sliding scales, unfortunately.
Game very slow, but 400 gold the lead for KT.
Cinderhawk done for Score. Let's see if Pawn and Score actually want to take the Rift Herald.
A lot of damage. We've got the Azir there to add on to it, but
Using the vision, and so
yeah,
maybe it's too much early invitation, and Score decides that clearing out his walls is higher priority. You just leave that look outstanding all game, as Faker no longer is going to take the role of the defensive side of the lane. He's going to be the aggressor now.
and already has a CS advantage as well, so that's real scary stuff. Deft falling behind here as far as farm on the bottom side. Note that he will be at least at gold parity, given the Kleptomancy.
We see the ultra late game team fights. It's hard to see SKT losing them. They have so many tools, but
now the Hemoplate comes in. Vaughn's going to take a fair bit of damage. Yeah.
There's no thought in Faker's mind that he'll get a solo kill, but if he can get a summoner, if he can get lane control, that's enough.
Well, Score's actually going to get chunked out. Knocked up here as well, as Faker really wants to find that Crimson Rush. It's charging up, and here comes Martyr and Deft. Want to be able to find him. Deft actually getting chunked by that Q, as you can see.
Gonna lose a lot of turret HP for this, you'd imagine. The minion wave starting to come to lane. Score's greedy, going for the red buff on a zombie ward. Has not been on the ball with clearing those zombie wards, so a lot of extra information from SKT that Faker's working around. That's why what looks like relentless aggression is actually controlled aggression. And if you let Faker have controlled aggression, he will run away with a lane 10 out of 10 times.
Oh yeah. Right over the top. That does mean that the gold becomes completely and utterly even. Top side of the map, Smeb and Tal just doing answered by Score being ahead in the jungle. Left of Nancy being taken by Dev. Exactly what we wanted in a game of 3. I know it may not necessarily be a whole lot of action, but what we want is these teams to be playing on a similar level. And it looks right now in every single lane, everything's going the same way as there's the Fate's call. SKT want to change that situation. The stun comes up. Good arcade shift to get Def out of the way. And the Glacial Fissure and the teleport going to get cancelled very, very late out of SKT. They utilize that time to try and get a little bit more harassment onto Marta.
Timing was really smart from SKT. Bang saw the Def, who of course had not shot, was low on mana. They instantly owed in onto Marta, unable to get the kill, but getting exhaust out of it. Blade was roaming down as well. There was no actual ability for Def to turn it around. He did not have multiple rotations of spells or mystic shots, and that means that this is going to be a free Infernal for SKT outside of a score. Magical steal, but he's not going to do it.
No, not too bothered by that one. That's going to even out the Infernal Drake count, so not a huge deal. Shot Barrage, giving away the fact that Def did go back to base, but I believe they would have figured that one out anyway. Manamune completed, got some free ice boots there in his back pocket as well. 4 out of 5. And thrift shopping on the side of KT.
Bit of extra power, but when it comes to gold, only 200 gold is the lead. For KT Rolster, no control of mid lane. On in a good matchup. Trying something now, but Baker just ults. Ultimate hat proc.
Yeah. Oh, that timing was stunning. Just predicting exactly when the Emperor's Divide was going to come out.
Never fun to be started upon.
Oh, heal actually baited Faker in there as Bot. He's going to turn up. Stopwatch is there. Buying time for the pull to come back off cooldown. Will he have it? No, not going to get chased. KT, no. And he did have that option. 20% CDR, sorry, 30% already built up, so would have had the pull.
You're styling upon Pawn in that regard. Trading up in Summoners, getting also the Jumpler's Flash. Faker did it in game 2. He's trying to do it here in game 3. Outclassing Pawn one more time. Keep pushing into mid lane. Score has been trivialized, very difficult to gain from either the top lane or the mid lane, honestly bot lane. So it's going to farm best from the Jax. Doesn't play the strengths of the tank jungle Jax. Baker keeps pushing. He grows the CS lead with GP10. He's going to be a lot of the gold for SKT, predictable.
Oh, man, it's so much of the damage. Level
Welcome back
12.
to the lane.
Yeah. Has been picked up. There's the on ultimate coming out from Tal, but doesn't find Pawn with it. Was trying to predict.
there by Pawn. Batal easily able just to wander back to the lane. Smeb's not going to be able to stop him from farming, but does give at least KT the opportunity to grab themselves a blue buff here in the mid lane.
There's a shoving advantage over his opponent as well. Iceborne Gauntlet probably just going to be frozen hard here as the trades get stronger and stronger from SKT in the bot side.
Yeah, Crucial Barrage flies forward. Unbreakable not there for effort, of course, so it's a decent maneuver. Faker's going to be spotted. Counter-Strike's going to be down. In goes Pawn, picks up the kill. Faker caught shopping 2 weeks in a row.
Exactly, he got caught by the Orbital Strike Redemption and then once again does all the hard work, and predictably, it's only in the trivialities that Faker is tripped up upon. Big solo mistake, a single mistake decided game 2. Don't know if that's going to decide game 3, but it's the first feel-good moment for KT since we spawned.
That's a disaster, though. You can't be feeling great. Proto Belt's now completed. It's not going to mean that he's going to have any less control of the area, but Pawn gifted 300 gold for nothing.
Faker was deciding between lots of lovely options to Vladimir, then he was dead.
Yeah. And all too easy. Wasn't able to grab that. And that was first blood as well, so make that 400 gold.
And this is something that we haven't touched upon, but Faker traditionally has not found success on the Vlad. I remember many Vlad games he's played in good matchups, and what I found with his Vladimir is that normally when you see Faker do well in lane and then push his advantage to other lanes. His roams are legendary. I've seen him get roamed upon many times as Vladimir, not as relevant with the Azir, but I feel like Faker's been second to a lot of fights as Vladimir that a Ghost Flash user shouldn't be. So historically not a great pick. Still a good start here, still a fantastic laning phase. One small mistake and you start to wonder.
And Proto Belt's going to be used there by Faker, trying to get on top of Pawn once again, but just going to shift his sands over there and get his way out. Sand skating quite nicely. Here's Pawn. Blade of the Rune King going to be the next option here for Def. No Trinity Forces this time, but still lagged behind as far as farm. Bang. Well and truly the free lane for the Callista.
My opinion on teamfights though, and scaling in this game, well, now that we're cementing that we're going to have pretty even item parity when we hit items, is that SKT's teamfight is a lot more straightforward. Atlas, waiting for the Devour here, which is the Arcane Shift.
Oh, Faker's actually in trouble. Oh, not going to go into the Sanguine Pool, so Pawn unable to bait that one out as there's the pull, finally coming in. Oh, the Emperor's Divide, not enough. Cataclysm can't be cancelled. Pawn, score, trying to get himself out, is going to move out of the way. Stopwatch is going to be used, gets out of the way of at least the Ram. But speaking of getting rammed, he's going to get smacked on by Faker, picks it up with a Transfuse. Man in the mid lane gets some revenge.
Yeah, Faker had the latitude to go forward. Let's see if there's enough damage here from Spam. You'd think not. On the Maokai, it looked like Faker was out of position, but the first collapse happened. That's why he was pushed up. First turret of the game, first brick in the mid lane is even bigger for SKT. They may have made a mistake a few minutes ago, but they trade up massively in that regard.
We have to remember that, I mean, that was just first blood going down. That was the only thing that came in. This time, that tower able to go down. Faker here just gets his way back.
Nothing that Pawn can do. The ultimate will always register from the Jarvan. So he was always going to be dead in that regard. Overchase though, they could have just taken the early chunk and backed away, but when you pick up one kill, you feel hungry for the second one. And hunger is punishment on the side of KT. After the extended turret dive actually puts them ahead in kills. Faker shows up with 3 items already compared to 1.5 on the side of KT. That's what happens when you have GP10 rolling.
Yeah, and the Zhonya's plus Proto Belt are both of the extra buttons that Vladimir desperately wants as quickly as possible. Thank you very much, Stopwatch, but that's a one-use thing. Now he's just got a minute or so cooldown. Belting forward again. Faker understanding his damage windows really nicely on the Vlad. Never questioning his ability to play out the champion in lane, like you said, more about getting around the map, and that's exactly what he's going to do right now.
I wonder if a game like this means we'll see more of Tal, as I'll hold the point for now.
Yep, Smev is actually down here though, looking for his opportunity to get in there. There's the Nature's Call, getting himself on top. Got the Ram coming back, nice double knock up as it's Marta that falls down first. Score, can't find his way in. There's the flash to get on top of the Callista, and Pawn, he turns up as well. We've got Emperor's Divide being way wanted to be used. Can he get the priority targets though? Effort incredibly low. Pawn, lots of consistent damage, but the shifting sand's not going to get him too much further forward. In goes Faker. The Sanguine Pool's there, not going to find anything. Are the Sand Soldiers, and now it's Bang jumping forward. He's at full health. SKT have utilized so much depth. True Shot Barrage, so much damage, and that's going to be able to pick up Blank. There are still 2 dead though. KT don't have a lot of their damage available as Pawn has hit the Death Chamber. Sanguine Pool once again, but I think the Faker might just fall here. Slowed down. Counter-strike will be used in time. Yes, it will, and Score's going to be able to grab that kill. Faker being a little bit too tricky.
Bit of a botched team fight there from KT. If you watch the bottom side of it, Smeb was happy feeding left and right. Wasn't ever actually able to get in, so wasn't really a factor on the Maokai. I thought it would be a bigger loss for them. But first Blank, then Faker go too far. They see the low mana bar and they think, okay, Def can't be involved. But with this many mana items, he still has multiple arcane shifts and mystic shots. It spares some blushes from KT. It gets them the Infernal as well. So they do end up slightly winners. Watch the replay and notice that Smeb ults in. That's of course his first contribution. They pile in, great use of the Pong and also the Jarvan scores out of the fight. Smeb from the rest of this is down out of the fight as well. It's very, very extended. SKT feel comfortable that they see the low mana bar on Def, but Smeb is no longer a factor. I thought the fact that he wasn't involved was going to be the real big punishment, but Pawn goes aggressive, does consistent damage. SKT re-engage. There's still no Smeb. He never gets back into the fray. Bang gets a single kill. Smeb again is zoned out, but the turn here surprised them. The fact that Def could pop a mana potion, get back in, first kill onto Blank, second kill when Faker walks down trying to buy time for his team. So extended, but even without the Maokai, KT are able to slightly squeak out ahead.
Yeah. Frightening stuff, and actually watching over that fight again, the Emperor's Divide I felt didn't look like it really did too much because he didn't wait for the end of the Sanguine Pool, but what it felt like he was trying to do is just provide a wall that no one could actually get over. Give KT a free disengage, but left a little bit of a hole on the bottom side, meaning that the follow-up was there. True Shot Barrage, of course, denied by the Unbreakable.
Story as old as time between Unbreakable and True Shot Barrage. So every meta since Braum and Ezreal have both been around. Think back to the mid lane Ezreal days, and that was still the story.
Yep.
SKT have the easier to execute comp. They can very easily go for the wombo that we saw with the Jarvan and the Ornn. Score finds his opposite number in the jungle. KT have a more tricky one, Atlas. They have to get out of the initial burst and then reset and have SKT still be committing for specifically Azir to do damage. Otherwise, going to be kited out. We've seen some Azirs in recent memory. That's why with SKT in a good foothold, 2,000 gold up, you do favor SKT, but there are ways to make KT's comp work. What they have is the more reliable pick power. They have the Maokai teleport. Getting control wards, getting vision supremacy is the best way for KT to win the late game. So if they just run at each other 5v5, I think SKT wins many more than 50%. Yeah.
Even with Smeb picking up the Maokai, mostly just so that he could try and get the Twisted Advance onto Bang. There's concussive blows. Deft having to be a little bit careful here. Dodges out of the way of one, but there's the Ornn. Mata having to use the Devour, but triple knockup as the Pong gets bounced back. Another Emperor's Divide that's left a bit wanting. Flashes from everyone as Mata is going to be taken down. Deft already dead, and SKT should be able to move to a Baron. Score, can he try and get some sort of steal? I don't know. 3 versus 5, it's a tough call.
Teamfight Dogpile does beat KT Ross. Def dies with both his summoners up. Probably thought the heal at minimum would have come out. Let's see how the goaltending is done here. Baron at 6,000.
Yeah, remember, 26-minute Baron, not exactly the latest one in the game, so it's going down slowly. A lot of damage potential here from Pawn. They're actually going for it as Tal makes his way in. They're committing to the Baron. They get rid of Tal first. The Ren stacks are going to be torn out, but are they going to survive? 4 versus 3. KT getting kited for the moment. Blank able to wait for the flag and dragon. SKT, they sacrifice their top laner, but they get the Baron at 26 minutes.
Yeah, they make the percentage play, Atlas. They put faith in the Smite and Rend duo. They get the big objective to justify the setup. We're going to see a replay here. Deft at the start wants them to hold on to Devour. You don't see a Devour, but the problem is Devour is no match for the call of the Forge God. You can't get away from this unless you flash early. Didn't have flash up. Deft dies with his summoners available, and then Maokai only has single target outside of the ultimate. So easy for SKT to execute, like we said. Easy to execute, can be so strong at the top level because all these players are very talented, but the reliability means that if you choose the right engage, it's going to go more often than not like that, Atlas and SKT. Couple of team fights away from winning our first telecouple.
Yeah. 2 items now on the man in the mid lane for KT. Pawn, 2-2-1, decent scoreline, but...
Oh, look at this build, though. It's very low damage also.
Yeah.
Banshee Veil and Nashor's Tooth won't be doing any chunking, not the sort of build that you'd see Faker go. On Azir would get a Void Staff, would try to be a battler, will be healing Tal in many ways with his damage, unfortunately, because it is so low damage, whereas Faker is ready to go and then some. 5 items already complete, cheaper build because of the GP10, but Void Staff as well. Very difficult to see them get anything out of Pawn until the very late game.
It will be strong, but I mean, the plays he's been making as well, Papa, it's not the Azir that we saw in game number 2. Of course, it's hard to be Faker, but it's a bit rough because he begs the comparison. It's just not the high impact.
Yeah, look, there's another game where it's a squishy lineup from SKT and Azir can blow them away, but double locket complete. The frontline Ornn is certainly not going to be taking any damage. Warmogs on blank. Very difficult for them to actually get value out of Azir, who was already getting kited at the best of times. The map control completely with SKT, as Toll just wants to take away the blue buff, he will.
Yep, we're trading ultimates though. Kitty Cat's flying across the rift. I like it. Rams versus Cats. I think I know who wins that one, because one of them's much bigger and has hooves. Certainly did happen as the blue was taken. And it seems that the solo laners from SKT having a field day. This 1-3-1 scenario, lots of vision being pushed up towards the bottom side, and that's where the 3 members of SKT are going to be focused. Sand Soldier's doing some work, but Unbreakable, of course, helping the Braum.
Already 1 Ornn item upgraded, so it seems like Toll just want to spend 500 gold to get the improved magic resist and armor on the locket. SKT going to get uninterrupted Drake. No way to interrupt this. Only 30 seconds left on the Baron, so didn't even crack the inhibitor turrets with this one, but gold lead is there. It's not massive, it's 4,500. It's still a feel-good moment for SKT. Just feel like 1 more Hemo Plague on 3 members and a free hitting bang represents death for KT Rolster.
Now another needlessly large rod done for Faker as well. Smeb, he's looking to go home. It's just so hard to lock down Faker. The man's 1, 2, and 5 has died a couple of times, but 6 out of 6 in the kill contribution. He's been there for everything. And that's what we wanted to see improve. Getting him around the map, getting him into these skirmishes, and 100% kill contribution tells you anything, it's that he's been there.
I do like the Toll also. You know, I mentioned the improved locket. Note that he has a locket. Tank's getting locket ever since got health scaling was very big. Both these teams have good AoE. Pawn, the chief offender on the side of KT, the Vladimir, of course, and the Callista, the big ones on SKT. There is no locket on the side of KT. Smeb has gone for selfish stats. Also, Score has gone for selfish stats, so they have no ability to help Deft and Pawn get through. Now, Pawn does have magic resist, but the Banshee Veil, so they've all gone selfish, whereas you have a lot of team statistics on the side of SKT. And from memory, the Ornn evolved locket does not stack with the regular locket in a negative way. You don't get the diminishing returns that are considered different items by the game. So they're actually going to get full value out of 2 lockets, which also further explains why we saw it upgraded early by the Ornn.
And I know that we don't know the name of it, so I'm not actually going to talk about the
Mega Locket.
Is it the locket of the gold Solari, as opposed to the iron one? Or do you want to go up 1 level, you know? Locket of the platinum Solari?
I'm going to give you another go at this joke. It wasn't good. Try.
Should I wait a bit?
No, just now. We've got nothing happening, so what's the name of the item, Atlas?
Locket of the titanium Solari?
Okay, I give up on you. Let's get back to the game. You've got nothing to give me here.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I still don't know what your one is. Locket of the awesome Solari, is that what you said? That's not
I didn't have to contribute.
You're not even
you did all the talking.
You're not even
getting
a stronger metal.
No.
Okay, never mind.
KT just want to find a foothold here. They have no vision line to really talk of. A couple of isolated wards in their blue buff. No control of their top side. They're being starved out of resources against SKT, which is another story as old as time. See Mata walking up. There's a degree of risk just going as far as he did. Could have just seen the Callista ultimate and then potentially his doom. KT trying to find a way to get their own jungle camp, so that seems impossible. They turn on to Mata, they crowd KT out of their own jungle. The Goldie will only grow in this scenario.
Yeah, Def trying to get some poke damage in here as Effort sets up the Unbreakable. Blank doesn't take too much damage, and Tal waiting in the wings. They get the ward down first. There's the charge. Unable to get the lockdown. And that's just a Brambleback that will be stolen away. In fact, leashed. As there's the call of the Forge Guard. They're looking for a good double knockup. Comes out from Tal, but the Nature's Grasp is there. Faker right in the back line. The exhaust comes in, and Tal grabs the first kill on to score. SKT, another double knockup. Tal's a massive beast on this Forge Guard himself. Will be taken down low, though. That was a good Shurima shuffle coming in from Pawn. Make that a double kill. A triple. Pawn's turned it on. He's figured it out. And now Deft once more. He's got no health, but they want to clean this one up. Pawn, can he make it a quadra? Effort in trouble. Unbreakable. It's not that unbreakable, sir, but we don't have the cooldowns, and Pawn's not going to follow up. KT, they find the window.
SKT thought that was their winning moment. They saw the highlight package with it after the game, but it wasn't. They spent too long in Pawn Sandsoda. Since we last looked, he has a Needle's Large Rod and the Void Staff. Even through double locket, they're able to take them down, and this is going to be an inhibitor against the run of play by KT Rolston.
That is one of the first times in a telecom war I've seen an overreach from SKT.
And look at this. I say inhibitor. KT says no. We want the Baron. We do not want to be exposed. Taking inhibitor, recalling, and having SKT take Baron. So they're going to take an inhibitor turret only and guarantee themselves a Baron. That's a very restrained thing to do. Not taking a naked inhibitor when you can, but they prize the Baron, and they know they can return to the inhibitor in a few moments.
They also know that SKT have an incredible Baron-taking composition with the fact that they do have the Callisto. Let's see this again and see where it all goes wrong for SKT.
Again, it looks so straightforward. Dev's knocked up, he's not going to do any damage. Vladimir's in the back line. GG SKT, right? No. Watch what happens as this goes on. A lot of damage dumped onto Smeb, but Pawn gets into his own base, and the Cataclysm, notice that through the Cataclysm, he's doing damage the entire time. The soldiers, he's in safety. No one can get to Pawn. He's actually helped out by Blank's Cataclysm, and they mow everyone down. The Void Staff and the Nizar's Rod puts him over the edge. That's the late game Azir everyone thought would be kited out at this point in the game. SKT bit off more than they can chew. I didn't think it was possible, but it happened.
Yeah, and this time, we've got a Rabbidan's Death Cap on top of Pawn as well. So if they disrespect that again, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Even with this Hex Drinker available for Deft, it means that this chunking that Faker's been putting down on him with these Crimson Rushes, with his transfusions, not going to be hurting as much this time. So it all just gets a little bit better for KT, and they've got the Baron buff.
Every SKT fan was ready to talk about the victory. They may still get. They're still in a great position. But this Baron buff isn't being used for them to just take one inhibitor. They want two out of it, Atlas. They're going to a third turret. Vladimir is going to go for a long walk, but will be spotted by wards. KT continue to push up.
Now, KT with a little bit more reliable damage as well, I guess, as we move towards the late game, but Faker's trying to prove me wrong here. Hemoplague, we'll see how many people it's actually going to get on top of as Mata is going to be able to spit out Deft. They've got the Lock of the Iron Slurry, it's doing some work. Smep, he's at really high health. Sand Soldier's doing work, but it's not anymore. Pawn's going to be taken down, and the Sanguine pulls in there. Make it now a triple kill for SKT as they move further forward. KT, they're the ones to overextend this time.
There's no safety for Azir in terrain like that. They spotted out Faker, could not fully disengage, don't have a Tom Kench for the entire team. And that means that SKT will actually pick up an inhibitor of their own. Watch the replay here. Remember that the terrain was so important for Pawn to be able to be free in the back line. But before the Forge Guard comes on, Deft is disengaged, but then scores out of position. Everyone's out of position when we finally see the flank from Faker. This time the Cataclysm seals the doom of Azir rather than being the walls of life. They take down the front line, they take down the DPS. When we get back to live, we'll see the effect on the base. It's only an inhibit turret again, so again restraint being shown. Pawn still 5 seconds away. SKT have their eyes on the Elder Dragon.
Exactly the same play, but mirrored to the other side of the map, Papa. The Elder Dragon will be going down in favor of SKT, who will once again, oh man, catches it. Effort, pretty good at playing Pong. He's got Tal there, of course. Tal has set himself up for that ability. This call of the Forge God, but Def not going to be able to go for a steal, so exactly the same play Now SKT back in the same position that they were earlier.
And even with Tal and Effort in the lineup, you know, a handful of competitive games between the two players, very, very young. Everyone knows their role on SKT. Effort knows his role is to deny there being a steal, and all he had to do was unbreakable the Ezreal ultimate. That part would be guaranteed. I love seeing that SKT can play with the members, play with the lineup, but still have that same understanding. So, great job by him in that regard after being caught out a few times in game one, especially. SKT, with this team comp, are still in the lead. It's oh so close. 1 minute 30 left on the Elder Dragon.
Well, Bang actually has a stopwatch still available to him on this Kalista.
Guardian Angel doesn't provide that much stats for the cost, and he already has a stopwatch, so probably smart to go into the double lifesteal.
Already has at least the Bloodthirster and the Mikura Scimitar. We'll see where he, well, actually triple lifesteal. So, next one probably going to be a Last Whisper. There's a lot of armor now being built up by the tanky members of KT.
Faker's at 6 items and upgraded his Orin item, so as decked out as he can be, short of a elixir being picked up. Doesn't have one right now.
Sonya's Mega Watch.
Saw Pawn in a game similar to this start with the upgraded Zonias and then change it for Deathcap, knowing that his role was to need to do more damage in the late game. And Orin passive will be relevant in the late game, given there's 5,000 gold worth of stats that won't be available inside of KT.
Deft, speaking of 6 items, finished off his Maw of Malmortius.
Pretty low damage build though, has had to go for the Maw of Malmortius, knowing that magic damage is going to chip at him one way or the other. Can't really kite away at Vladimir.
Well, here's another call. It's going to get Marta. They're going for the Tahm Kench by the looks, but
going for the inhibitor.
Continue that one as yet. Inhibitor already down to half health. Sand Soldiers positioning themselves actually away, giving a lot of opportunity for SKT to get free damage on this inhib counter-strike. Just going to be waited out. SKT playing patiently, not able to take down the inhibitor just yet. Waiting for the next minion wave. Another Unbreakable will be there to stop the minions from moving forward, and Faker, he's going to move his way out.
5 seconds on the Elder Dragon, but and they're worried about that. Like you say, the minion wave more important.
Yep, Score actually going to take this opportunity to jump himself in, but not going to find too much more. Deft off to the other side is going to be okay. Zombie ward's eaten up, and SKT unable to take down the inhibitor, but it's down so low. We'll be regenning slowly.
Had the PTSD from the last time there was a fight around this area of the map where Pawn single-handedly was able to carry KT over the line. Means they don't get the inhibitor. You just have to love how we have this parity between the two sides. Both of them, no inhibitor in the mid lane, but no inhibitors have been down. Vesting over to 40 minutes in the game. An extra Infernal Drake is great, but the Ornn upgrades also is extra stats to the side of SKT that cannot be answered by KT. So much parity 40 minutes into our first of many telecom wars in 2018. SKT looking significantly better than the team that could not beat Jin Air. KT Rolster also looking better, so it's good to see both showing improvement. Whichever team wins will have the bragging rights, but the fans of the losing team will at least be able to say they saw more out of their telecom team than they did in week 1.
Yeah. It feels like it happens every single time. It doesn't matter about what the form is. It's always a fantastic series. You always see the mind games because these teams have been playing against each other for so long. The matchup has such a great name. 40 minutes in, still could go either way, but 6,000 gold is the lead for SKT.
Look at this. Actually sold the stopwatch for a upgraded Black Cleaver. That was, if this was a quiz game, that was not one of the responses Ornolds used.
Yep. Fall of Forge God doesn't find anyone though. It's Ingo's Faker to get in around the back. There's the Cataclysm. Emperor's Divide is dodged by Faker. He has his Zonias as well, doing so much damage. But KT, they may have turned it around. Deft picks up the kill onto Faker, and now they're moving forward. SKT all grouped up. Sand Soldiers ripping them apart. And do we have the chase available? Score has the flash. He's got the counter-strike, but he gets slowed down. Marta, he's gone so far forward, and Snev is going to get delivered. Bang, still dancing around the team fight. Remember, 4 versus 5. Make that 3. As Pawn grabs the kill onto Tal at the same time, this should definitely be inhibitor. Can it be more?
Faker thought he had his moment. The EQ onto Deft almost one-shot him through the damn Maw of Malmortius. It wasn't enough. KT is smelling victory here. Vlad is dead. Can they end the game?
20 seconds on Faker, 40 seconds on Tal. 5 versus 3, but Bang is still alive. Ingo Score. They're looking for more. They get the pushback. Pawn in so much trouble under the turret, but Deft gets
hype train. It looks like it would be history, but we said the one thing different was the year had changed. Katie Rolster never picked up a best of 3 with this roster in 2017, and then 2 team fights, and fittingly, 2 mistakes for that in the first round. Xayah taken away. The Tristana taken away. Varus will be first picked, so a lot of impact on the bot lane. Prey can still just jump onto the Ezreal and take the at least losing pressure lane. But very interesting to see SKT first pick the Varus, and we're learning about the patch, we're learning about the priorities. It was all about bot lane. In the previous meta, so far at least, it's similar as, I'm sure some people will be disappointed that Khan, on red side no less, had the possibility to last pick the top lane and just goes for an early Scion unless Gorilla's been having some fun with the support Scion in solo queue.
That's what I was thinking, that very outside chance where perhaps they want to fool SKT in the first round, but pretty doubtful at this point, probably around 5%. Faker's going to jump right back on his rise, still very strong.
Stronger.
Patch, yeah. It's really good, right? The tier item, pretty good, Papa.
Just so much mana. It's such an amount of mana. If you have mana scaling and your core item is buffed, you're a stronger champion. Cassio and Ryze are both rising in power pretty severely, and this can be an SKT comfort draft. I think Jarvan makes sense. It is Blossom's champion, which he's been the most reliable on. So first round for SKT, super powerful, whether it was 8.3 or 8.4. We'll see how Kingzone want to round out the first round draft here. Double mid lane ban almost certainly if they don't reach for a mid laner now. See how BDD's feeling.
But they're going to go for the Cogmaw. It got heavily nerfed, I think, on 8.2 or 8.3, but then they scaled it back a little bit. They brought his damage back a little bit here. The question is it going to be definitely for Prey, or is there that outside chance? We talked about this on Cast, Papa. Is there a chance of AP Cogmore here?
Yeah, I did tell the story of speaking to BDD and saying, hey, AP Cogmore with the new Archangel stuff and Precision of Mind, Presence of Mind, I should say, is very powerful. I think it will be AD carry. I think it will just be a safe pick for Prey in the bot lane. I don't think Juggermore is coming out, but of course,
he's laughing in the
they were the team. I think he knows I'm speaking about it because I literally had that conversation with him in the makeup room, but I don't know if I'm going to influence the meta that quickly.
Hey, you never know, right? Let's keep it on the board here, at least for now. Speaking about the bans, a couple more support bans taken off here against Wolf, and of course those mid lane bans you were talking about, Cassiopeia. The counter to Ryze also getting strong, taken away. And SKT reading into this going to ban a third support, perhaps thinking that Kingzone would pick it here with their first pick after the second ban phase.
Yeah, Taric is conspicuously available, but we'll actually find it hard to really be powerful. And Taric Cog is a pretty weak 2v2 lane. Now this would be some power in the 2v2. They're going to lock in Thresh. Gorilla returning to an old favorite of his, a range support, to add a bit more pressure. And SKT, now they do have a Taric draft, and I think they will go Taric for just a bit more of team fight guarantee. So now we know it's certainly okay. There is still a chance. Scion mid lane has been played in competitive play in some regions, so
oh boy,
we're not 100% clear. I wanted to say definitely top lane Scion, but let's see how much Kingzone want to play with the hearts and minds. Because Trundle is locked in, it's been Ontara's pick into Scion, largely has been successful. Will Kingzone, how many fast ones will Kingzone pull?
There are at least a couple of them, right? Is it going to be that AP Cog mid? Is it going to be the Scion mid? What's it going to be? It looks like it's just going to be normal if they lock this one in.
Let's wait and see. This is looking like a Scion mid lane.
Yeah.
And it will be Scion mid lane. Okay, so Scion mid is going to come out. It's been played in Korea a bit. It is the biggest blocker of interactions you can ever have. It's super, super safe as well. Very interesting. It could also be the Jace mid, which is a good pick into Ryze as well. In the early game, my instinct is it's going to be Scion, though. He can roar away the bannered up minions, the Baron minions. Let's wait and see, but Scion mid to me is the most likely.
Well, we saw BDD laughing about something, and it seems like this is what he found so amusing. They also get that last pick for the Khan. You were saying that's a possibility.
20 seconds.
It's going to be Khan up against Untara in the top lane. Most likely, Jace versus Trundle. Let's wait.
It was such an early Scion by Kingzone that we thought, what about support? Of course, facetiously we wondered, would it be the time for AP Cog in the mid lane. That doesn't happen, but Scion mid lane. Rise is not going to have a lot of fun trying to push through the Scion damage. The bone plating might come in for even more reduction of damage. Bone plating, our new resident thing to complain about after all the changes. You look on the side of SKT, very strong 1-3-1, but not as strong as previously thought, because suddenly Untara's assignment got way harder. Trundle against a tank. We all know how that goes. Trundle against a Jace. Much different assignment.
I was looking at his face once they put him on. He looks very uncomfortable, Papa. I don't know if he's going to have a fun time here. We've already seen him have trouble. It was part of the reason why Tal came into the lineup in the first place, is Untara struggling up top against all these different picks. So tonight might be a bad night for him, and we might even see some substitutes. But let's not call it early. Let's see what happens.
It's so much control, and then prey on the Cogmore to be the artillery. A hype comp, it's new stuff, it's 8.4.
Let's do it, guys. We're gonna start game number 1, SKT versus Kingzone Dragon X on the Rift right now. Here we go. Never thought I'd see BDD on Scion mid. Definitely a guy who likes to control with mages in the mid lane, but it's a new patch, it's a new day, Papa.
And you know what the fun thing is? If you compare Scion mid to a champion that's been in the meta recently, Galio would be the closest proximity. His global is not as reliable, of course, but he has the ability to drift through river very, very quickly and get to a side lane. Announces it early, but it is a very safe pick. You'll notice he goes Comet for lane control as well. He could go early Banner of Command, which is the big item here. There could be 3 Banners of Command on the side of Kingzone, that's for sure.
Banner, 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 no doubt. We were talking in the makeup room a little bit with Gorilla, or you were talking to him, and you were like, well, how many Banner of Commands are we going to see in this game exactly? Very
he said
curious
3,
to see.
but he didn't specify whether it was his team or in the entire game.
Yeah.
Jace won't be building one, that's a spoiler. Now let's talk about other things though, because one thing to discuss here is Untara will get no fun at all in the lane, is that there's not as many minion dematerialize in this game as NA and EU might have led you to believe. We had Trundle top lane in NA and EU pick up the minion dematerialize to help out with the late game. When Jace is in the game, Kingzone are not thinking about post 40 minutes. They're thinking about much earlier, so there will be less minion dematerialize. That might evolve. Of course, it depends how this week plays out. We don't see as many of those to answer the super buffed up, the hot fixed minions with the Baron buff and then the Banner of Command to add that extra oomph. And you talked about the top lane. Let's cover that as well. Khan against Untara. That was probably the reason that Untara didn't go to Worlds, because he showed he could not handle top lane carries like Khan. And that's why they preferred Huni. It gave them more options in the top. These were the sort of matchups where Untara struggled the most, and now he's been heavily counterpicked as well. So unless he gets help out of Blossom, it's going to be hell to pay.
Peanut's already up here on the top side. Thankfully, though, Blossom has been able to take that Rift Scuttler here. So they spot each other, and Peanut just going to see Blossom as well, which gives Khan a little bit more safety. Another small change that we do have on the Rift, by the way, is the Blast Cones were taken away from those outer sides. So the Jarvan can't just jump over the wall and then flag and drag on top of the Jace. It actually makes Khan even more comfortable in the top lane.
So it's jungler around top side, and as you mentioned, relative safety compared to patch 8.3 helps Jace in a winning matchup. Looking at history, it's all about the LCK Summer Final that I think should have been the thing to most talk about there, and it was Kingzone breaking SKT's undefeated streak in Korean finals and going with a 3-1 victory. Bot lane, we see the return of Cogmore. You mentioned the patch change. Basically, what we found was that after his first snuff, he lost about 30% of his theoretical damage output. Now it's 15% because he was rebuffed by 1% of max HP damage. So much more usable now. Still going to be Rageblade most likely. Still the early core. Very powerful one item. Also has gone Unsealed Spellbook to opt into the cleanse as the game goes on.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. We talked a little bit about Varus, or rather about Cogmore changes. Varus hasn't been changed at all. Didn't really see any changes on the Rift in terms of his own patch notes.
You're looking at the Dross and their identities, and you're looking at the Scion mid and saying, what's going on here? another beefy frontliner for the Cogmore to do damage. Kingzone will largely not be grouped as 5. They will group as 5 more than other Jace comps because they have such a robust frontline, with Sejuani and Sion ignoring damage and then Thresh fishing for a hook, that they can potentially take turrets down very fast with the Cogmore and Jace, but still largely going to be 4-1 with how strong Jace is against Trundle in a side lane. SKT thought they would go for the flexible dream in this patch. So this comp on patch 8.1 through 8.3 and before Sion mid has become a thing would be insanely powerful because Trundle doesn't really have an identity. It's almost better that he groups for Pillar than trying to split against the Jace. They have less options than they would like, and that's the power of being on red side, which for me, ever since the last couple of changes, has been the preferential side to be on compared to blue side at the start of the season.
So far we've seen Untara versus Khan a lot up in the top lane, but this is going to be the first time that Peanut does make his way up here. By the way, guys, another change from 8.4, if you haven't been looking at the patch notes, is no more Tracker's Knife. And you're going to have blue smites coming in now and red smites, right? So lots of differences in what the different junglers can take in terms of their smites. You'll notice that Peanut has taken blue, Chillin' Smite. And now they're actually going to engage onto Blossom here, who does get away. Peanut has done a very good job of mirroring him so far on the Rift.
And BD's done a very good job of buying Magic Resist as his first item and saying, hey guys, I got a Negatron Cloak. That's pretty cool what you're doing over there, Rise, but not going to take any damage. You're right, the vision game here is going to be very, very different. The no Tracker's Knife meta means that certainly we might see new items. I think Remnant the Watchers on a Malzahar, for example, are going to stay staple on 8.4 at least before the quests are changed in order to get that extra vision. We still were unsure what that would mean in terms of jungling. Would Korean junglers be more safe because of the lack of vision? The controlled aggression from Season 3 Worlds onwards was all about vision control, making aggressive plays possible through the extra information. But now that the vision is lower, we're also going to see less sweepers because you need to hold on to the warding trinket just to get down any relevant vision.
So far, we've seen BDD having a very fun lane in mid, and Khan having a very fun lane up in the top side. No doubt Untara has taken the bone plating. He's gone for Doran's shield. He's trying to just survive as much as possible. But we're already here at 7 minutes into the game, and he's nearly down 20 CS. He's going to pick up the rest of that CS in the top side, but this is kind of what this matchup does, and Khan does it best, as we have learned. It's very hard to mimic this kind of play in the top lane for Khan.
Honestly, it's a huge counter pick. He's melee-only bruiser against a range champion who only goes in melee range to kill you. But Faker looking for an early roam. I mentioned the lesser vision. There's only one ward in the river, but it's going to be cleared. At least the vision's been cleared.
Well, here we go. Realm Orb coming in. The pillar will be flashed, and so they get the flash out of Khan here in the trade for Faker's ultimate.
It will also cost him a minion wave in mid, and we know that Faker never wants to give up a CS advantage, but that what it gives him, Valdez, like you mentioned, the flash advantage, means that Jace will have to be safer with his ability to play in lane. He won't be able to overextend as hard. BDD, considering a drift bot lane, just going to pull out.
Definitely have an opportunity, especially before Taric is level 6, because if you get that Cosmic Radiance down in time, you know, you mitigate so much of the damage as the Scion comes in. Was thinking about it, decides against it. Perhaps they didn't have enough vision on where Blossom was, so they say, hey, we'll just go back to lane and continue farming.
One item, Kingzone, will be very, very powerful. Often these Cogmore comps need to hit 2 or 3 items, but I think at one item, with how insanely tanky the frontline is, Ragebait Cogmore will be able to free auto because access to the backline kind of Jarvan only. It's going to be very, very difficult. SKT would love to play like they did in their last series against Juno, where they would just Realm Warp onto Orianna and take her out, but there's so much peel CC and also the Lantern to disengage any all-in attempts that this is Cogmore set up for success in a way that we haven't seen since the good old Juggermore days.
So this rotation was seen, actually. Peanut coming down here, they didn't see, well, they saw BDD, they didn't see Peanut. So immediately, Wolf and Bang are going to back off and give a bunch of room off the turret. Will they continue to go on this, or will Kingzone just push onto the turret? It's still very healthy this early on.
And just, for now, giving up free control. They know that Ryze's teleport is down, his Realm Warp is even on cooldown. It's largely only going to be a denial of experience. Hook onto Tarek, but he's level 6. The turret dive here, very difficult to perform.
Good communication there from SKT, just making sure no one's going to go down, and so another quote-unquote failed gank. They do get that damage down, but Tara actually up on the top side trying to challenge Khan. Not sure if that's a good idea. Does have his Tabby ready. There's a Tabby, but still having a rough time here.
Tabby, bone plating certainly going to both be there. The build will probably still include a Tiamat. When I saw cloth armor and the rejuvenation beat, I wondered, are we just rushing Banner of Command and giving up? But you need to have Tiamat for lane control.
Yeah.
So far, we're looking at CS. Small CS lead to the side of Kingzone. BDD, predictably, is going to be down a little bit. He hasn't been able to actually extend a CS lead. Looking for Comet Harass and pushing in the Rise has meant that he's missed a bit of CS in every lane. In every, minion wave. And then, if you look at the Resolve tree, basically if you see Resolve second, you can best believe it's going to be Bone Plating and second win. That is the new OP duo of Resolve runes that you take.
We were talking about this before we actually went live even. It's maybe in the future we're even going to see mid laners, 80 carries taking it just because it's so strong. Here we go. They're actually going to engage here. That charge, both of them missing, and Faker just standing in the face of Peanut and BDD in the mid lane saying, ha, nice job, guys.
And that gank was largely to get at least a flash out of Faker. He gives up neither with his ability to abstain and his ability to endure pressure. That means so much for the side lanes. It means so much for Untara, knowing there's no threat of a turret dive. And SKT, they know that there's no mana on Peanut. They start up the Drake.
Easiest Drake of their lives gonna come in here, even if they were under vision. It doesn't really matter. So the Ocean Drake very early on, definitely gonna help out Untara in the top lane especially.
Varus also can be mana hungry in his usual trade pattern of using his E pretty liberally, so definitely is a nice little lead there. Nice little Drake spawn for SKT. Potential for lane gank from Sejuani, but no flash.
They're gonna jump here onto Bang. Cosmic Radiance coming down, but Bang at about half health. But again, that's a pretty good ultimate at this point in the game, so they're not gonna go for it just yet.
But remember, SKT's laners can push up past halfway through, even without vision of Peanut, because they know his ult is down. This is what Faker was able to provide this team. There would have been a threat of a defensive flash for Bang & Wolf. They even saw the Arctic Assault come out of Sejuani. But with the ultimate on cooldown, they can step up. They don't use their summoners, and so far the failed gank has cost Kingzone in multiple ways.
I love how every minute or so also we're coming up to the top lane and just checking in, right? And so far, the 20 CS lead hasn't really extended too far. Untara looking a lot tankier up against that Jace and having a pretty decent job of that lane. As you guys will notice, we have the new artwork on the Drakes. The Ocean Drake definitely looking different from the norm.
I'm not passing judgment just yet, but change's not always good.
Gorilla coming in. This is 3-on-1. Finally, they get that flash out of Faker. He says, all right, you got me this time. They also get the TP out of Wolf, interestingly enough, into the mid lane.
They clearly want to increase the pace of the game, and like you mentioned, these three rotate through mid lane. If any of the ult cooldowns of either BDD or Peanut are off cooldown, you also have the death sentence to start things. Speaking of death sentence,
Wolf in a lot of trouble here. Doesn't have the help of his teammate. First blood goes down as Prey gonna pick that up. Nice chunk of golds to the bottom laner.
Ideal person to pick it up. Remember, because we have a mid lane Scion, we expect him to rotate first. He's gone for the Abyssal Mask first. That buffs up Prey's damage as well. Gonna be largely unkillable in the early game, and Rageblade already complete on both of the 80 carries. All Blossom can do is on the other side of the map try to take an objective, because first turret going to Kingzone Dragon X.
We saw the stats before the game started. Kingzone is one of the best teams at creating a gold difference early on. They love to get aggressive and increase the pace of the game, as you said. They're doing just that. They get the first blood, they get the first blood turret. Now they're going for another engage here on a Faker. He doesn't have his flash anymore. They're trying to drag him out, and they do get him out of his realm morph. That's going to be another kill onto the mid laner of SKT. Kingzone looking to win this one very early.
And the timing there is why they showed so much aggression, why they were willing to flash. They just took bot lane turret. That unlocks the thresh to roam. They're taking a second turret, and SKT are a step behind the play.
I just love how Gorilla pulls him out. He's like, nah, you're not getting away from us this time around. They tried 3 times, and finally they pick up Faker in the mid lane.
Khan rotates down. We're going to see the replay. You can already see on the minimap, everyone's coming, and Varus' first thought is to pick up the minion wave. No ability for Faker to get out. Takes the death sentence. Khan able to pick up the kill, which is even better for him. Taking the bot lane, the bot lane turret first for Kingzone opens up so many options, because now Kog'Maw, once these turrets go down, the theoretical lane assignment is that Kog'Maw goes mid in a very short lane with a high health mid lane outer turret, while Thresh roams around the map looking for picks. The Kog'Maw in a short lane will be so safe with the cleanse if there's any sort of flash engages by Faker, and that allows Kingzone to get the most out of their Kog'Maw as well. So many options as SKT looking to be a step ahead and pile onto the top lane, but you can see Sejuani on the way.
Sejuani is on the way, will be 4v3 for now, and we also have Faker making his way up here. Peanut gonna show himself on the ward. They really want to get this down here. See the demolition proc even gonna come in, probably from Wolf. Not sure if Antara would take that up against Jace, but either way, they finally do get the turret. SKT looking to fight back a bit.
If you guys are wondering at home about power spikes for Kingzone, again, I mentioned how they can fight with Rageblade early, and how they were gonna likely win team fights pretty early in this game. Even though it's Kog'Maw, the word hypercarry is not what I would use to describe this comp. This is not Juggernaut, hit a certain amount of items on Kog'Maw. This is just an aggressive mid-game comp. They need to fight, they need to push the advantage. That's why breaking the first turret and rotating was their game plan, and so far, they've succeeded.
Khan making his way up from the bottom lane, already getting very deep in the jungle. Missed his shock blasts, though, so they don't try to all in onto Blossom, and he saves his flash after all. Look at the amount of roaming Gorilla's doing as well. Just moving in with Peanut, getting that deep vision already in the top side.
One of the people to benefit from there being less vision on the map is someone like Jace. If you take a lane-dominant champion, there's less wards that you have to respect in the jungle that you cut through when you try to poke. A minion wave dies and you go straight to mid lane as bang, a little bit too slow on the ultimate there. Basically what I'm saying is that Jace can push in bot, then rotate to the mid lane. There's going to be less Chakras Knives wards to catch him as he rotates between lanes. Rotational play with lane dominance got stronger with there being less vision in the game. That's why Kingzone returned to the Jace that they're oh so good at.
I'm looking at the map right now. I see 2 blue wards. Actually, there's 1 more in their own side, but so far the vision game is going heavily in favor of Kingzone. They have multiple control wards inside the jungles of SKT. Khan coming up, taking a cheeky blue buff away, saying, hey, the Scion doesn't really need that. I'd like that a lot more up against Trundle.
Rift Herald about to despawn, as Jarvan has not found a spot for it, will have to use it soon. Notice that Faker, who was famously on first back changing to sweeper, basically every time in the last year, SKT always used to have a low vision amount of wards placed on the map because they would switch to sweepers so early. Now you're seeing them hold on to the warding trinkets because you can't afford to with a lesser vision available.
Blossom finally forced to let go of that Rift Herald here. Poor Harold's gonna get in there. We're gonna have a hook onto Antara. Not much gonna come out here, but just 1 charge in SKT. They know they're behind at this point. They don't want to get too frisky with this one. They just back away.
Very difficult for them to win a straight up 5v5 because of how powerful the front line of Kingzone are. Already largely unkillable. Yoma's Ghost Blade Rush from the Jace, just to be able to sidestep, just to be able to rotate between minion waves. As we mentioned, it is Bramble Vest into Tiamat, so at least Antara's not taking a lot of relevant damage. But remember that the play pattern of Trundle is the exact role reversal in this game. Usually it's Trundle under enemy turrets, poking with a couple of autos and disengaging. This time Trundle's the one who's playing like a true tank on the defensive side. And that's what the counter pick means, is that they're not getting any value out of Trundle in the side lane. It has to be the pillar of all pillars, otherwise it's a waste of a pick.
Thanks so far, not impressing me in this game. Even using the heal to get Wolf out of dodge there. Just the duo, not looking good up against Praying Gorilla.
I mean, he's down at wit's end. He only has a recurve bow. There's a huge item discrepancy. They have no control of the map because
oh boy,
wards have been cleared so many times.
Look at SKT damage overall, oh boy,
yeah.
not good. Very good.
It's what a great draft does to you. It warps the game. This game has gone completely away from what Coma intended. The moment that the Scion was put mid lane, everything about the comp no longer applies because Trundle can't do anything in the side lane. And from there, they could never rotate mid. Scion's never going to leave the lane. He's going to push it. He may have missed out on some CS, but he's unkillable in both the mid lane and in the side lane, and Kingzone have been ahead of the play. They've made the plays, and SKT are just hoping and waiting for a late game where they can actually use their team comp. I don't know how many late games there are on patch 8.4 because Banner of Command is coming next from BDD, and the Baron buff is going to be turned on before too long.
Definitely so. I feel like they still have Faker in their back pocket. He does have the highest farm in the game. He's on that rise that feels good about the new items on 8.4. If he can become kind of his own kind of fountain laser in this game with the help of his team, perhaps then SKT has got a chance. They just got to hold on here and try not to get bulldozed by Kingzone, which is basically the standard for this Kingzone team. They go up against anyone in LCK and they just bulldoze them.
I mean, your patch 8.3 analysis of this game is, don't worry, SKT, just wait it out. You got good wave clear, so the first Baron, the second Baron won't be enough. Baron is stronger. The Elder Dragon, the second spawn especially, is just straight up winning the game in almost every scenario. Stalling got much harder in this meta, and also SKT have been best as an aggressive team with Blossom in the lineup. So SKT, the last time they played Kingzone in the first round, it was 2-0 Kingzone. It was a different SKT with Blank and Tal in the lineup. Since then they became aggressive. Their aggression was stalled because of the smart draft from Kingzone, and scaling got nerfed. So in both ways, they pretty much got screwed, Valdez.
That they did. We'll see if they know how to come back from behind on this patch, as we're only 21 minutes into the game, but already it feels like Kingzone is accelerating it quite fast. Banner of Command, by the way, guys, is finished up on the Scion. I know you guys are super hype about that. We already got one on the Rift.
Good news. Faker has held on to all his stacks of the minion dematerializer. The Scion mid lane in the game was basically a confirmation it would be second item Banner, so he hasn't used any on the minion wave. He still has a CS advantage. They do have the ability to repel a bannered up cannon minion if Ryze can actually close the distance onto that minion, and if Ryze is in that lane. So that is still one answer available. But Gorilla, you know, he's probably going for a second Banner of Command, not the Aegis into the Locket that we've come to expect. So then things get much trickier for SKT.
Yeah, you mentioned no minion dematerializer on the Trundle, had to go with other stuff just to survive. We'll see if Kingzone just won this from the draft or not, as it certainly feels that way in a way, with Khan coming up with a surprise Jace last pick.
Waiting for the neutral play. We're waiting for the play around objectives. Do notice that this is a Jace comp where Jace can be in a side lane, and you best believe that Scion will be the one tanking up the Baron. Sejuani will be full health for a turn. When Warmox comes in, regardless, they can ignore Baron damage hugely. No mid laner can ignore damage better than Scion mid, and that allows them to have so much Baron threat every time they go missing. It's going to be SKT having to face check, and they've got huge initiation potential as a four-man group as well. We can already see the camp.
Yeah, there is that Rift Scuttler taken. I think they're going on to this right now. Yeah, they're going to start it already. You mentioned a couple of tanks in the front line, and you got the Cogmaw working on it, but they decide against it as they see SKT coming in. They want to bait this, and Blossom, he bites the bait right into the team, is going to get taken out. Immediately taking out the jungler. Fantastic for Kingzone.
Someone had to check. That's how it happens. They knew it was likely to be started. Kingzone read how fast they were taking it, pulled away, and they're looking for a second turn.
I feel like they're almost playing with their food at this point. They're gonna hook Untara, and I'll see you later. Before that comes down, they trade onto Gorilla, and Faker is doing significant damage, but it's 3-on-4 at this point. Khan looking to get a triple kill of his own. Flashes away from SKT. Wolf looking to go down here. Faker trying to go 1v4 now. Very not looking good for him, but at least he does get away in the end. And so Kingzone continue on with their dominance in this game.
That's just such a beautiful job. They have every option available. Jace grouping allows Scion to get in position to hit the first CC, and then Cogmaw will do the rest. They can play 1-3-1, they can play 4-1, they can group and siege. beautiful construction by Kingzone, and SKT, from the time the first 2 turrets went down, would have felt this same lingering dread that Ontara did when his team said, hey, could you please check the Baron? They had to know this would happen.
Yeah, it was Ontara's turn next. The next one off the lifeboat, and down he did go. At least no Baron just yet. As you mentioned, those objectives are a lot stronger on this patch. It's going to be even scarier once Kingzone gets their hands on one of those. They pick up the Infernal. We'll see what happens in the future with the different Drakes, as there's another Infernal on the way, and if they get their hands on some Elders, if it even goes that long, you got to imagine the Jace Kog'Maw is going to be feeling pretty good about that.
And the Kog'Maw build reflects what we were mentioning, how he will have to, of course, carry the burden of damage. Because he's so safe, he doesn't need to go Phantom Dancer or Rapid Fire Cannon to poke. He's going Hurricane. He's going, I am standing DPS. I've got all the tanks in the world to peel for me, and a Lantern to reset my positioning for the high damage AoE build coming through from Prey. He's feeling no threat with the Cleanse Flash available. And Kingzone keep rolling on, and in the side lane, in the grouping, in every scenario until it reads 40 minutes. SKT has no options in a 5v5.
It's just that feeling of trying to stop the bleeding until later, until perhaps your Rise Virus combination and maybe even Trundle later on can try to do some damage overall. We'll see how they try to get onto the Kog'Maw. You were mentioning all of the escape paths that he does have in this composition and all the help he has. We'll just have to wait and see. And now Blossom, he already used his flag, but he's going to get that up. They get on top of Bang here. The Cosmic Radiance will come just barely in time. But again, just trying not to die here is SKT. Utara in the backline. Peanut actually getting low here. They almost get him in a huge Cataclysm from Blossom, but it's not enough as he just disappears. This is turning into the Faker show as people want him to carry. He's getting pretty close already.
Kingzone there made the mistake of over-investing when turret was grouped. The ult meant that no first pick could happen, and then they were exposed. They weren't fighting in the formation they intended to and drafted to in this comp. It goes 1 for 1. Kingzone know the playbook is get a single pick, then take Baron. They don't have the Baron speed to try to rush it. They couldn't fully disengage. And you notice that Prey can't actually move up and use his Hurricane on multiple members because Antara gets into the backline. How can you ever get into the backline against Kingzone in a normal fight? You can't. When they're this far under the inner turret, you can. So they're not able to get them at full value. And a couple of mistakes like that, and that sliver of hope for SKT will return.
Definitely true. You'll notice that Faker still has 6 stacks of his minion dematerializer, so even a second banner of commands might not be affecting his team so much.
And if you're at home judging the strength of the Rise, remember that it's the same item build, but it's stronger on this patch. The extra mana on the Archangels means more ability power and just ability damage with the mana scaling that Rise has. So Rise is more powerful than you can even really appreciate at this point in the game. That means that Kingzone really need to ensure that their next teamfight setup doesn't fall into the traps they just showed around 26 minutes.
I mean, we're already seeing it in a couple of fights. 2 Qs that just barely missed would have meant 2 extra kills for Faker in that fight, and then maybe even SKT come out on top. They're not too far behind. It's only about 3,000 gold. What I'm really worried about is, you know, as you were saying, 1 pick into a Baron or 1 pick into an Elder or a second Infernal. It's going to be rough if they can't deny that from Kingzone.
So what does Kingzone do to move forward their gameplay if it's not just rush into a team fight? Remember that Trundle can't side lane. Is there enough damage here? Probably not.
Maybe they bait Kingzone in, but actually Khan coming from the top side. They want to get Blossom down, and just before the Cosmic Radiance, and a failed flash here from Wolf. Looks like he's going to be going down as well. Couple of kills go over to Kog'Maw, and Blossom in a wonky spot there, just getting caught up.
Yeah, Kingzone don't even have to play the side lanes. They were set up to because Trundle can't side lane in this game. If you get the picks, then you can skip over that step. Bit of easy extra gold comes in for Kingzone. Also the Baron, Ontara would love to interrupt, but Kingzone will finish it off.
Yeah, they're trying to come on in here. Let's see what Faker can do. He's dodging everything, and BDD is going to go down. The exhaust comes down here on a Faker, but he wants to turn around somehow. Let's see if he can do just that. It looks like he's just going to give it up as the Baroness come in, and now Kingzone's push will begin.
Yeah, BDD gave up his life just to stop Rise from getting into the Baron pit and stopping some act of God taking the Baron away. So he gave up his life to delay time to get the Baron buff. Only the first of the game. 28 minutes in, the Baron is received, and already the playstyle playing side lanes with Trundle struggling. The struggle streak's just going to be even more visited here for the side of SKT because Baron is finally achieved by Kingzone at 28 minutes. Blossom walks up, he's the one who needs to face check. And even through the EQ, look how much damage Prey is able to do. Actually able to close out the damage half a second before the Cosmic Radiance does arm, and then from there, Wolf out of position. The Baron registers. Faker is strong, no doubt, but how much of this game is going to be him running through a front line that isn't responding with Prey not turned onto him? All of Prey's damage is on the Baron. There was no threat onto the Rise, so he got a kill, but in a team fight, the Prey damage is going to be something he can't handle.
Yeah, and you're talking about, the carries here for SKT. You might ask, where's Bang? Well, he's about an item and a half behind Prey right now, who's 4-0-4. So definitely not feeling like the farm is coming through for him. Finally picks up his own Hurricane. We'll see if that helps out with his damage. Infernal comes in and Blossom pops the wall, looking for the steal here. Looks like Kingzone is actually going to respect this for now. Prey stepping forward, and the three-man Cataclysm again. This is good with that Cosmic Radiance, and they're trying to come in here, but Jace from behind. Wolf getting low.
That's right on Prey.
They want to get out to BDD, but it's not enough. Prey is just doing free damage in the back, and now Faker finally goes down. It's going to be a full wipe. The ace comes through. The teleport coming in. Kingzone looking to push this one in.
And the best thing is that they were the first team to play Scion mid when it was Rocks Tigers, then Coup Tigers in 2015. They roll it back. BDD this time on the Scion. It's still about the Cogmore, but a mid-game Cogmore comp where he can walk up after the few buffs. There was no threat on him, and that's why it didn't matter about anyone else. It was always going to be Cogmore taking it down.
And they're going for the victory, Papa. They got the Baron, they have the Banner of Command, and when you get a full ace here, it looks like it's going to be the end. Already clapping coming out of Prey. That's going to be a 31-minute victory here, unless Blossom can pull off a miracle. They're just playing with their food. That's going to do it. Not wanting to kill the Nexus. They're giving kills away just to BM SKT right now. 31 minutes, 15 seconds is the victory for Kingzone.
What a beautiful draft from Kingzone. We wondered, moving on to 8.4, this team was the best.